Well, hello. Look at me being all on time. I figure if I am going to be hosting a listing party, as was encouraged and the baton was passed, I should at least be on time, right? It is good to be here. If you are new to my channel, hello, my name is Becky. My channel name is A New Life Resale. And my channel name, I chose that name because I'm giving items a new life by rehoming them as a reseller. And this business has given me a new life. I was able to quit my job and become a full-time reseller. So kind of a dual purpose to my channel name. And I'm on YouTube because I am a solopreneur. I think that's the new buzzword for being a solo entrepreneur. I'm so trendy. Not at all. But anyway, when you're working alone, sometimes it can be a little bit lonely. And I find that I watch a lot of YouTube, but it's nice to connect and have that, one-to-one connection. So here I am. And I do think we might have a few friends joining us at some point tonight, jumping in the chat or whatever that might look like. So we can just get started. And I have a whole lot to work on. I am just coming back from being away on vacation. And if you guys have seen previous videos, I have committed to listing 30 items a day. And let me just tell you, that's not been happening since I've been back from vacation. I am like a little bit off kilter, and so I need to get back on point. And as I mentioned earlier, this challenge was kind of presented to me like, oh, sure, you host the next one. And the timing couldn't be any better because I have a lot of catching up to do and I have to get on it. So here I am. I have a ton of photos done. I think maybe just shy of 30. So I might get my goal today. But I do have some drafts that I need to edit and I would like those to go live. So I have that to work on. And I have a couple other catching up things that I need to get on as well. So those are my goals for today. That's what I have to work on. And I'm just checking. I had a notification come up. Yep, speaking of that. Sorry, that's loud. So part of what I do on YouTube, I use it to focus myself because I am like, Pavlov's used to ring that bell and I saw a notification come up. So I'm going to need to check on that as well. But I try to hold myself to task. And I saw some comments in the stream. So Alan jumped in earlier. Hi, Becky. We'll watch this back on catch up. Oh, that's sweet. Alan is such a wonderful friend and subscriber that I've made through YouTube. Oh, he asked, have I listened to Nightwish yet? And if so, what did I think? Oh my gosh, Alan. Yes, I did listen to your craziness. Alan and I were talking about this band called Nightwish, and I'm glad that you warned me. So Nightwish is, how did you describe it, Alan? Symphonic heavy metal. And that's not my usual genre, but I was happy to check it out. And oh boy, that woman can wail. I think he recommended watching a 2013 live concert at the Vatchen, spelled Watchen, Watchen, which I think is in Finland, but it's pronounced Voten, Verken, I don't know, something like that. Just Google it if you're interested. This woman, this lead singer, was just wailing. Oh my gosh, she had such a great voice. And I watched part of the concert, but it just went on. I can't even imagine singing with that force for that long. It was really impressive. So thank you, Alan, for turning me on to something new. I have to say, I don't think this is my new genre of music. However, I'm glad that I am more well-rounded and a little bit cultured. So thanks, Alan. And thanks for watching back. That's awesome that you support my channel. I appreciate that. Oh, Glamas. She said, oh, I better go take those photos. Yeah. Hey, kiddo, just finished photos. I'll be hopping on in a few minutes to say hi. Yay, that will be awesome. I sent the link to jump in. So if you don't have that, just let me know and I can resend it. I'm kind of new to working through StreamYard. I'm usually doing my lives through YouTube, but it's nice to have people kind of being able to come in and share the screen and whatnot. I think there might be like a holding room or something. So let me know if you can't get in, Grandma. And I just finished photos too. So this is the great thing about coming live and these listing parties and listing challenges is that when you know you have a deadline, the deadline was coming on live at 6. And this is not Becky taking photos because I can't do that many detailed things at once, I was holding myself to task, and it worked out. So thanks, YouTube, for holding me to it and giving me that deadline, which I appreciate. All right. So like I said, I had a notification come through, and I do want to take care of that because that's going to bug me if I don't. Okay. And I need to ask everybody's advice once everybody's on live. I'm having a bit of a situation. I'm having a bit of a Mercari situation that I need you guys to either talk me off the ledge or give me your advice, or maybe both. So well, you guys will have to clue me in. I'm a resell it. Shagan, how are you? My trip was really, really good, and I'm back, and I have a ton to do to catch up. How are you? Hey, do you want to jump on and join us in the live? I can send you a link if you want to be on camera. If not, I totally get it, but it's good to see you, and it would be great to get to know you better. And I see Kristen here. Yay, we did it. Hello. I don't know if she can hear us yet, or me. Me, myself, and I, all three of us. The funky bunch, the Looney Tunes. Yeah, so my trip was really awesome. I went away. I'm not going to say where I went because people are weird. Not you, Shagan, but there's other creepers out there. But I went to a cabin in the woods in a very remote spot, and it was just relaxing and everything.
Hear anything?
Oh, 1 minute. Okay, yeah, no, take your time. I'll give her the thumbs up. Let her know that she can come through. So Kristen has an awesome YouTube channel, and I will allow her to plug herself. But I think she said she was a little bit technologically challenged, aren't we all, right? And so this might be the first time she's coming in through StreamYard. So I don't know if her audio is different. We'll get her there. All right, I'm going to start listing, and I am going to start. If you guys saw my last haul, so I'm a consignment seller, which means that in addition to selling my own items, I sell for a group of consigners that I work with. And I have somebody who donated a ton of boys' clothes. And I at first was going to kind of lot them together. And now I've decided I'm going to sell them individually with the hopes of bundling. But I have a ton of these really preppy, cute little boy clothes. So I took a bunch of those pictures because I have to get them listed now because it's back to school shopping time. So that's my focus. Glamis says, hi, sweetie, and hi, Kristen, but I think Kristen jumped off. She might still be able to see us or hear us. Yeah, and Shagan, I know you and Kristen know each other, so she couldn't hear. She's going to try again. Okay. And Shagan, if you want to join in and get to meet each other in person live, just let me know, and I'll send you the link. Although email is best. I don't know if you want me to share I don't know. Should I share my email address on... Yeah, I mean, I guess people can find me anyway, right? It's not a big deal. Anyway, so let's get listing. The way I do my listings is I list first on Poshmark, and then I do cross-list to all the other platforms that I sell on. And my goal tonight is to list on Poshmark, and then I'm going to, if I have time, I'll get some of those cross-listing items up as well. I don't have a goal, by the way. So I have things I want to do, but it's not a quantifiable, measurable goal because you guys know I'm chatty. And so I want to hold myself to it, but I don't want to be stressing about my number, like, how much should I do or whatnot. So that's that. If you guys have a goal, or if you guys have something that you're hoping to accomplish, drop it in the comments so that we can all cheer each other on. I was reading that comment earlier from Alan, who turned me on to the symphonic heavy metal. Thank you, Alan. And he is kind of like an unofficial accountability partner of mine. And I told him he has full permission to hold me to my 30 items a day. And he does. And I love that about him. And Alan, I have to tell you, I didn't make it yesterday, and I was really bummed. But I was also up until like 1 o'clock in the morning. Actually, I was probably up until like 12:15, photographing and getting my head on straight after being away from vacation. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it to take so long. But come on, who am I kidding? This head is perpetually not on straight. So I don't know who I was kidding, thinking that it wouldn't that re-entry wouldn't be you know what. All right, I'm getting my first thing going. And I think I saw Kristen. Kristen, can you hear us? Oh, hold on, I have to add her. There we go. Yay.
Hi.
Oh, yay. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yeah,
good.
It's embarrassing what I did, but
was the volume on?
I had my mic because I was like, oh, my phone microphone isn't so great. I'll just plug that in. Yeah, well, that's not going to work for.
You're too fancy. All the time.
But I'm ready. I'm ready to list with you.
Yay. Do you feel like the microphone really helps? Like it gives you much better clarity of sound?
I've been told it does. I personally don't like the way it sounds because it sounds like I'm talking through like a cloud or.
Is there a delay?
Something soft. No.
Oh, okay. So you want to know what's funny? Speaking of clouds, on so this is StreamYard. There's a button somewhere. Hold on, I'll see if I can find it. Not that we need it, but there's a button that's like, oh, I don't remember what it is. It's like touch up or something, and it puts on like this visual cloud that you just look like soft and fuzzy. And I'm like, oh, come on. Like,
where's the button? I can use that right about now.
No, we're not using the button. I actually do need I need like a lighting or something. I'm sorry if I'm in the shadow, but this is the best we get here.
Yeah, I have studio lights on, but not my overhead fluorescents because they will just give me a migraine if I have them on too long. So I'm often also in the dark.
No, you're good. You're actually, yeah, you're very well lit, but that's why I was feeling self-conscious because I feel shadowy in comparison.
Becky, I'm in a garage, but I do have 2 studio lights.
That's good. You have 2 studio lights and a microphone. It's like 2 turntables and a microphone, right?
There we go. Yes. I'm feeling that.
So we have some other in the chat. Glamma says, she said hi, by the way, while you were off. I don't know if you saw that.
Hi. Hello. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
And she says that it happens sometimes on the phone.
Which is definitely what I'm using.
Yeah, she said otherwise also to switch to laptop, desktop. And Glamma said she wants to make sure she lists the 5 sets of photos she just took. Okay, yeah, she's working on things. And she might jump on and join us as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So do you have a goal for what you're working on tonight, or are you just
I do.
Working? Okay.
No, I want to do 10 listings for myself while we're chatting and hanging out. And then after, I need to do 12 for Melissa.
So tell us more about that. You are a listing assistant?
Yes, I am now working as a virtual assistant. And honestly, it helps me have better goals for my own closet. Because if I'm doing 12 for her, then I also need to be doing some of my own. But she just bumped it up from 10 to 12. So now I'm like, oh, do I also need 12 a day? I don't know that I have the photographs ready, but
challenge accepted, right? You have to get things going before your big trip. So
it's a little less than 5 weeks now. So I'm in the freak out stage.
You seem very calm and peaceful. That's good.
Thank you. It's
is it all like on the inside?
Yeah, it's inside. It comes out at about 3 a.m. when I'm supposed to be asleep, and I wake up and I'm like, I have so much to do. How can I sleep?
Yeah. Those are like the worst. I call it like active brain. Like when you wake up and you're like, my brain is trying hard to solve some problem, and it's like I can't turn it off, and then it's miserable. I feel so bad for you.
Oh, thank you. Like, and that's exactly what it is. It is trying to solve problems, and then I'll have to tell myself like that's not something I need to be concerned with now. And maybe that's the step I'm on. But right now, why don't we sleep?
Yeah,
wake up refreshed. That's a better idea.
Is it the same with you? Like for some reason, when I wake up like that in the middle of the night, no matter what it is, like my rational brain, like you said, this is not something we have to worry about. This is on a list. We're going to get to it. It's not time for that. That part of my brain cannot it's because I'm in like this weird sleep state, but it cannot listen to what I'm saying. And it just goes on it. I can't it doesn't listen like, oh, that's not important right now.
You're right. It doesn't listen. It's kind of like parenting yourself, and it's that toddler that woke up. Yeah, I'm back to bed. And I'm like, no, it is. It's on a list. It's in a notebook. That's a problem for another day. I know when I'm going to address that issue.
Right.
And for some reason, in the middle of the night, my brain's like, did we forget? We're going to be working on it right now. Nope.
Oh, well, you will have to introduce yourself because I know you a little bit and I know you from watching your videos, but I'd love for you to
Thank you.
plug your channel and tell anybody who's watching, first of all, who you are, and then, of course, how they can find you. But give us like your bio, your background, and
Okay. I'll tell you my story. You get
if you don't
listening.
mind, or
Yes.
not, whatever.
Start typing. I'll
Okay,
talk
yep.
for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kristen, and my channel is called Well Read Wardrobe, and that's red like the color. I am a fiction writer, non-published, but hoping to be once I move overseas. I'll tell you about that in a second. And I am also a full-time reseller. I have been full-time, well, since 2020. Since 2020, I have been, as in, I might not work full-time hours all the time, and sometimes I'm working more, but this is my main source of income, and how I support myself is through reselling.
How did you come to find reselling?
It's been in my life forever, basically.
Yeah.
My mom was a thrifter, and back in the day, there were like child consignment sales that only happened like once a year. And you just like tag all your kids' stuff, sell it, and get new stuff. And, you know, they would take part of the profit for hosting and having the actual event and what have you. So instead of online, it was just a store.
It was
And
OG.
she brought me up going there. I have a brother that's 12 years younger, so I watched her, you know, go through all this. And then when I had my son, I thought, oh, yeah, I know what to do with his old clothes. You sell them. And at about that same time, eBay was, I don't know that it was necessarily new. My son was born in 2001, but it was certainly just becoming new to me. Like I was buying baby clothes, and then I was like, oh, I could sell these things. And it was a lot harder then, you guys. Like, I'm working tonight on Vendu. I can cross list. I mean, we have everything built into our phones. This was not business for me at the time. It was just like, oh, this is what you do. This is how you recycle the clothes and get new ones. But we were buying disposable cameras to take pictures of clothes and then getting them put online. There's a lot more steps.
So you've been reselling for that long, essentially?
Yeah. Dabbling in it at least.
Wow.
Points of my life, it has been a full-time income, maybe for a couple of months in between projects. It was part-time while I was raising my kids. It was just always something we did to have a revolving closet for our own selves. You sell clothes and then you get new ones, and probably you're buying those used as well, either online or thrifting, because thrifting is the most fun. I know you're a huge consigner of other people's items, so you don't seem to go as much, but I would go every day if I could.
I hear you. Yeah.
Like, the treasure hunt is it for me.
Yeah, the thrill of the hunt, I think, is what keeps so many people hooked. But then, like, the back end of that is what we're doing now with this listing challenge, because, like, you know, you get all this stuff, it's fun, and then the sizzle wears off maybe, and you're like, okay, now I have to actually sell it, get it going.
Yes, exactly. I don't want to just hoard all the items I picked up. I do want them to have a new life, and most of them, they're not going to be with me.
A new life. Yeah. And that's my channel name. That's where, like, I love that part of things, because to take something like, you know, you started with your kids' clothes, but I don't know about you, that just gives me joy to be like, okay, we're launching this to give it a new life, a new home. Yes. Somebody else will find use out of it. And like all the good, happy feels, all the good vibes, you know?
Yep. Yeah. Get it out. Oh, and the next part of my story is that I am moving to Australia in 4.5 weeks.
Yay.
So I have to list everything, or put it in boxes to thread up, or sell it at the moving sale. Like, there's a lot of moving pieces here. These are all the books all next to me that are keeping my life organized right now. I need 4 organizers.
Are you a journaler?
Yes.
Okay.
How could you tell?
Well, I always feel like people, I think I saw in one of your videos where you had like on a calendar, like your to-do list and whatever. I was like, I think she's a journaler. I think she makes her lists. And I would say, plan your work and work your plan. Like, so you plan it out and then you go back and work the plan. So, yeah.
Yeah, so tonight's plan is get 10 listed and then move on to the virtual assistant listings.
Okay.
Get them out there because time is ticking.
So here's what I figured that we'll do tonight. And this is for anybody in the chat as well. And you can tell. So I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. So that's like, and they're all.
I used to be.
Did you? Okay. See, we are such kindred spirits.
Like, we're vibing. Yes.
Yeah. But the kids are now, they're going to be sixth graders. So you can tell kind of like the level of like where we're at with things. So I pulled out my Girl Scout sound effects because, that's like an integral part of a good troop meeting. Yep. And I have 2 sound effects for us tonight. When we have a listing that goes live, give it a shout out either in the chat or you let me know. And if you have any sales, shout them out too. So we'll make this fun and interactive.
Yes.
So that we can all pretend that we are like 6th grade Girl Scouts and just get silly with it and have a fun time with it. So
yes, I'm like, those girls will work for badges and I will work for a check mark on my to-do list every day. So long as it's written down, I'm like, okay, I've got to. I have to. Yeah. I can't mark it off.
It must be your saving grace with the big move, because if you were disorganized, it could just totally fall apart, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping. And I guess that's the 3 a.m. brain. That's like, are you sure you wrote it down? Is it on a list?
Right.
Yes.
So while you're listing, if you can, I don't know if you can do the both at once or if like your brain gets distracted, but I'm so curious to know like why Australia. You're moving with a boyfriend, right?
Yes.
And this is like a big deal. You've been planning this and like it's all coming together.
Yes. So we've been together for 5 years.
Known
each other for almost 10.
Wow.
So we were friends for a long time and it was just supposed to be that. I mean, we live on, different continents and are leading different lives. But when hey Glamma, found myself single and I took a year in between marriage and dating to date myself and figure out, who I am, what I wanted. And I thought, this friend of mine, I have some feelings.
Ooh! Oh, this is such a romantic story. I love this.
Thank you. But it's taken forever because we've had to travel back and forth. At first, he was going to move here as like a short-term thing, and then we'd eventually go to Australia as a long-term because I want to be there. Choosing between the two, I would like to live out my life there and come back to America to visit. My kids were much younger at the time. Now it's been so long. I've got one going into her senior year of high school and the other joining the military. So,
wow.
Are you kidding me?
You don't look old enough for any of that, right?
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I am a young mom, so there's that. But thank you. I'm just going to say thank you.
I would card you for liquor. I'm not even lying.
Whenever that happens now, I'm like, yes. Do you see how the date starts with the 19? Yeah. Yes, I'm doing it.
So we'll do a quick introduction. I don't want to interrupt you, Kristen, but I want to introduce just for everybody. Since Glamma just came on, do you prefer Dana or Glamma?
You can go with Glamma. That's kind of how everybody knows me. So we can stick with that. Plus, I have the shirt. Look,
you do. I like it on the
yeah. I bought my own merch. I bought like one merch, and this is it. Yeah.
That's the best merch to have because you can't forget who you are.
I mean, BYOM, I guess.
Bring your own merch. And you guys kind of know each other a little bit, right?
Yes, from the listing challenge last week or the week
we
before.
just met, and that was such a phenomenal time. I got so much done.
Me too. And then the next week I was like, meh. So I'm so glad you did this tonight because it's forcing me to get back into listing mode. Anytime I go to a listing challenge, I love it. So I've saved 5 drafts on my phone. That's my mom. She's given the horn.
Yeah, look at her. All right.
Yeah. Well, she has no idea what she's doing. My nephew, Aunt Boo with BooTube Productions on YouTube, or Carrie I in the chat. That's my sister. So her oldest son is a teenager and he somehow got my mom at a family party to do that. And so I took a picture as quickly as possible because I was like, oh my God, this 83-year-old is throwing up Ozzy Osbourne devil horns. And I was like, I thought that was hilarious. So
it's a great picture though. So did someone since then explain what it means?
Oh God, no. She's like really evangelical. So we don't, yeah. So we don't, I don't want to be like, well, they're technically devil horns. That would upset her. And luckily she can't really see that well anymore. So,
You said luckily. Oh my gosh.
and she doesn't go on YouTube. She doesn't have a computer or anything. So yeah.
We won't tell her. Your secret
It'll be
is
our
safe.
little secret.
Yeah, we'll just keep that precious to
Right.
us.
So Kristen was telling us, she was telling us about her history and how she got to be involved as a reseller. But now I don't know if you know Glamma, she has this big, huge move coming up from Seattle to Australia. And what'd you say, 5 weeks? So it's like this big countdown. Check the calendar.
Less than 5 now. I'm like, it was 5 on Monday, which really feels like pressure now. It really feels like pressure. I got a listing up, by the way.
Yay!
You were doing it. I'm like, I need a sound.
Good job.
You too. Hold on, here we go.
my
Is there a
reward,
better?
Becky.
There's
I
got to
did
be a
it.
better sound than that.
All right. Woohoo!
Bravo. Kristen, I did want to ask too, you mentioned your children and you were about to say, and I apologize for interrupting. How are they taking the move? How did they see the move?
So they're happy for me, and they're experiencing their own emotions and feelings, which sometimes change daily, of course. It just so happens that my son has made this decision to join the military, and we don't know when he's shipping off to basic. He might beat me or he might not. So that kind of changes, I think, how he feels. I think he wants to go first. And so that I can say goodbye to him instead of the other way around. My daughter recently said that she feels motivated because she sees both of us embracing new things in our lives. And I don't know about where you live, but I'm in the Seattle area, and it's been about 3 years of what I would call, we're going to use the code word panini just in case, but like that time of isolation and change and not feeling like you could make decisions or big changes. And for me, I couldn't go to another country. Like, I was literally locked out for 2 years. And once I started the paperwork for the visa, I was not eligible for a tourist visa to go over. So I literally couldn't follow my path. And I think both of my kids have felt stunted as well, not knowing when they could move on in their lives. And now it's all happening. So it's nice to see them also deciding like, yeah, like life is okay. We're okay. We all survived, and we can make choices and go on with our lives and not be so fearful or still. So I think overall it's positive. I'll check back in 5 weeks. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of tears and ranging emotions, and same for me. But overall, I think it's good. I mean, I try to look at it and to encourage them to also embrace that this is not a door closing, this is a door opening, and they will have different opportunities than I did growing up because I'm somewhere so far off.
I'm not
they're gonna have their passports and they can go too.
Do you have a date for when your first trip back is? Like, do you or when they're going to come visit? Or
yes, I don't have the tickets because we have to wait and see when the actual graduation is. But I will be back next June because my daughter will graduate high school. So everyone in the family will come back at that point from all over. So that, I think, is a good milestone to come back, celebrate her, and see everyone.
Aww.
Because it's happening really fast. The visa took 15 months to get approved. So it was very slow and stagnant and a whole bunch of nothing for a very long time. But then as soon as we got our yes, it was like, why wait? Buy the ticket, let's go. So it was a whole lot of nothing. And now all of a sudden it feels like I'm at the end of a marathon. I'm sprinting, you guys.
That whole buildup must also compound things too, because it's like all this waiting and all this emotion that's been building. It's not just like, oh, I made this decision and now I'm going. You made the decision and then there was a long process. So
yeah, there was so much time waiting for permission. And honestly, I was beginning to think they were going to tell me no, because they can. And you don't really know why, but it gets to that point where you've made a decision to do something, but then the inability to act on it. becomes this huge weight that you're carrying around every day. So I had just started looking for jobs because I thought, oh, yep. I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm here, and I don't know if reselling full time at this point is healthy for me. Maybe I should go get a job and get out of the house more, meet people, because I'd really like closed my life here at the same time as so many of us did, and when it wasn't really a choice, but I never really recovered from that. And I was beginning to think that's what needed to happen. And within a week, then we got the yes. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I do not want to do that.
Awesome.
I do not want to do that.
I love that.
Yeah. It's like the art of letting go, apparently.
Yeah, you open yourself up. Yeah. So what would you have done? Like, what field would you have gone into if not reselling? Do you have a background in anything?
Nothing that I would have loved as much as this.
Yeah. Right back at you, sister. I feel the same way.
I really enjoy being my own boss. I do want to get a job once I'm overseas, but it's for very different reasons. Like I want to start that retirement fund. I want to have a place to go. I want to have my own things, including friends and coworkers, so that I can adjust to life over there. But the ultimate goal is to resell and publish books and not have to, call in when I'm sick. Just don't show up because it's my own thing. But I don't know. I was looking for like a throwaway job, something I didn't have to invest too much of my soul into.
We'll be your coworkers. You don't need a job. We'll be your coworkers.
You're at the water cooler anytime.
It was so great.
I'll work for chocolate.
Right? So tell us about your friend. Is it Melissa who you're helping her to list things?
Oh, yeah.
So how do you know her?
We met through Poshmark.
I love that. Oh, my gosh.
Let me just take a little bit more coffee and I'll tell you all about it.
And then we'll have to have Glamma talk so that you can have a break and list your stuff and then bounce back and forth.
There we go. So Melissa, she's on YouTube and Instagram as the Thrifty Broad. She's a local friend.
I love her.
She's great.
Oh God, she is amazing.
She has so much energy and I love it. And she's so kind. So we were at, I forget which Poshmark event. It was before all the lives, but it was like a big thing where people from Poshmark were there, and there was like a panel of guests speaking, and it was a whole big event in Seattle. And they had just started announcing that Posh and Sip, which was like live and in person, was going to be a thing, and she was looking to see if someone locally was hostessing. And so she asked Denali, also known as El Ducho Thrifts.
El Ducho, I love her too.
And she said,
you're dropping some good names there.
She goes, well, I'm not hosting, but Kristen is. And we live near enough by that she was like, okay, great. And so she came over and introduced herself. She did come to the Posh and Sip coffee, and we've been friends ever since. And that was, I think, 2019. And so now she's my bins buddy. And just recently she was like, how do you feel about taking on virtual listings? Because she knew that I was looking to make a lot more money really fast and buying all my own inventory right now, like I'm really iffy on, because I'm like, oh, it has to sell like now.
Yeah.
So I considered it for about 2 minutes and I was like, yeah, let's try that. Let's see. And I thought she just meant like for one month while I was here. She's like, no, like when you go, you could have this, it's all virtual. And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? And then also, why didn't we do this sooner? Because the typing is something I like to do. I'm wordy. She does have some joint issues and arthritis, so she has to be cautious of like how much she's doing certain tasks. And her passion is in actually fixing things up, the DIYs. She makes some awesome upcycled items. In fact, I've told her, like, you're going to have to let me know on the listing if you upcycled this, because I'll just be like, oh, yeah, free people made that. Like, of course they did. And I was like, well, they did originally, but she did something else to it. But how would I know? And she wrote a text the other day saying that she was, like, at the end of the week where she would normally be having a lot of, like, hand pain. And she's like, oh, I'm good. Like, I can get to those
Oh.
100-pound jeans that she bought or whatever to fix up. And I was like, okay, good. I'm glad it's working for both of us. So
So yeah, it's a great partnership. You're helping her, she's helping you, and now you have like guaranteed income a little bit, right? When you get over there, if you can't get your thrifting spots situated, and if things are wonky for whatever reason, you know you have something to fall back on. That's so nice to have that.
It's
one little
so
bit of
helpful.
taken off you. Yeah.
And I never considered it. And now I think, well, maybe I should get on Fiverr and like advertise. And the cool thing about doing it from Australia would mean I could be listing for Americans while they're asleep. So you wake up and it's done.
Ready to go.
It's already done.
Yeah.
So that is a strong possibility to continue on as an entrepreneur and still in reselling. But yes, I need to have some sort of reliable income because I'm definitely going to enjoy life over there. There's no more isolation.
All the details of where you plan to be, where you plan to go, all that stuff. But I feel bad because I know that I'm taking you away from your listings. Because I'll just
my one dress. I better just listen now.
All right, we'll kick it to you, Grandma, unless you're right in the middle of a listing.
Nope. I realized that I took something upside down, so I had to go back and read it upside down. Hold on. Metropolis. Yeah. Aha. The word is metropolis. It's a Alexander Wang.
Ooh, very nice.
New with tags, black bodycon dress, and that can certainly wait. It's a little intimidating to list, obviously.
Do you ever get that like paralysis where like something, and you know what, this is good because I actually wrote down on my calendar today, I have to list this bag set. And I was like, I'm going to ask the girls while I'm on the live because you guys need to know why I'm not listing this. I have the draft all ready to go, but it's like, what is your paralysis? I know what my reason is. What holds you back for something that's.
If I don't particularly like it. Okay. If it's not like my personal style and I'm not like, oh, I'm not really fond of it, but I know it's a big seller, then I'll like put it to the side and I'll put it to the side and I'll put it to the side. There are also some things like this Alexander Wang dress that are a little bit intimidating. And I'm like, oh, I feel like I should have more and more and more information. And no matter how much information I have, that's not going to get this thing online and get it sold. Right. So I'm like, you know what? Finally, I just have to go, okay, I need to make a hate pile and go through and take photos of every single thing I hate. Because once I have the photos in my phone, I cannot wait. I can't hold off listing them. That's that. Once the photos get in my phone, I won't have like 160 sets of photos of stuff that's not listed. I won't do that. I won't even have 5.
I love that you know your threshold too. You're like, if like that's the barrier to entry is like if the photos get done, the rest is smooth sailing, and like it's just getting past that catalyst. So if you just say this is my pile and I'm doing it, gosh darn it, like that's the infinite.
And I've actually had like things that I didn't particularly love, or things that I've had my sort of delayed listing process. And sometimes what I will do literally is just to get the listing up online, I will put black dress and put the minimal amount of information. I mean, like literally minimal, like measurements are in photos and it's brand new and that's it. Like, like whatever Poshmark deems most necessary, and that is it. And then it gives me time to sort of process, chew on it, and go, okay, you know what this listing needs, and then I can go back on my laptop where I can actually type like a normal human being. I'm not good with my thumbs. I'm too old for that. So I go back on my laptop and then I'll play with it and get a little more, verbose. And actually offer a description and a little more flowery language and things like that. So, yeah.
That's interesting to me. So instead of drafting, you're letting it go live, which is minimal information. And then if it takes more to sell it, you'll add it later.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many drafts I'm sitting on where I'm like, ooh, it's not ready. It's not ready. And you know what? Writing books is the same for me. I'm like, a little bit more research. Before I let someone look at this.
And it seems like it just, if you see an insurmountable hump, you have to figure out a way around it, over it, or through it. And if it's something that's blocking me, it absolutely kills me to leave things hanging out. Like that's niggling in the back of my head. And I'll lay down at night and I'm like, I could have just broke down and done the Coach purse today that I, for some reason, keeps ending up in the other pile. So, because I don't want to stuff it. That's the other thing. If there are extra steps, I don't want to stuff it. I don't want to lint roll it. I don't want to have to, burn off this little piece of thread on the side, and that can literally keep me from listing it. When all I really need to do is just, take the photo, list it, and then go back and make changes. You can change the photos even, right?
It's so funny. Like, it's just that process of getting things started,
Yes.
Like I forget where I heard about it. I used to have like issues. Like there would be something that just felt so huge that I'd be like, I'm not even going to approach it. And someone said, like, just do one thing, but just stop at one. Because if you keep going, then you'll always be like, well, I say I'm going to stop at one, and then I just keep going. So just actually stop at one thing. And once you break that down, then you can come back to it. And then like the whole mental block is gone. Like, because you've already just done the one thing. You're like, okay, this is no big deal.
Yeah, it's that eating an elephant thing, right?
Yeah.
One bite at a time. I mean, whatever that one little step is that you're not doing, push through, do it, because especially with Poshmark, it's very forgiving. You can go back and change it anytime.
Yeah.
eBay actually suggests that you do. They'll send you an email suggestion.
Right.
So those types of platforms, and even if you're cross listing it, at least you've got it up there. At least you've got it out there, because it's making you no money just sitting there.
Yeah, and you went and sourced it, and there was something about it that some reason that came into your belongings. Another suggestion, I know a really good virtual assistant who's looking to get some clients when she goes to Australia. And that might be something where you just kick a few listings to someone else. And like,
good for her. Oh, wait, me.
I can't deal with this, but like having somebody else, like if you had like a pile of 5 and you're just like, here, I need somebody else to just do this, here's the pictures, can kind of like alleviate that. And then you have the draft. You're like, okay, now I'm going to work with this. Oh, those are great keywords, or this is great, whatever. And it kind of gets the ball rolling. I've done that before. Right. And just having,
a professional writer doing your descriptions. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Seriously.
Yeah, I had to stop myself from adding things to Melissa's drafts because we do have a very different setup. I prefer full sentences. She has a bullet list and a format, and I'm like, okay, I need to do her listings the way she wants them done, not my way. But I'm like, let's talk about it. This shirt loves strolls on the beach, let's get it sold.
I loves long walks on the beach. My favorite color.
You should take this with you on your cruise. She would be happy to go there and be on you.
Is she like a bullet point? Because there are people who who just want, like, bullet points are very important to them because it sort of mimics what a lot of online retailers do with bullet points. So I can see that. I do mine more of, I don't do full sentences. I do like, I am the queen of the broken sentence. So I'm like here's a part of a sentence and you can guess the rest. Like, measurements are listed in photos.
It's like those Mad Libs where you can just enter.
Yes, right. I just sort of I'm the, and run on sentences. I love those. Those are favorites.
Oh, those are my favorites.
Mm-hmm. I could just do like one big long run on sentence and not, there's no punctuation except for because I read a great deal. I always have. So Kristen, you got to let me know when you come out with a novel.
Okay.
Or
about it.
Historical fiction or whatever it is. But because I read a great deal, I cannot see a contraction without the proper spelling of that. So if it's your, it's your. If it's and if it's your, it's your, and if it's the days of yore, it's the days of yore, and so on and so forth. So yeah, I get like really there. I'm the there girl. I am that girl. I'm guessing that you are probably the same.
I am, but I still have put things up with misspellings. Like when I was typing so fast and excitedly being like, I'm moving to Australia, and I misspelled Australia and hit send, and it's in that chat for forever. And I was
Austria.
like,
And people were like, yay, Germany. We're so close to Germany.
But yeah, trying to talk and list and also participate in the chat.
Yes.
Can be a bit much for me. Like one of the lives that you did, Glamma, I was literally typing like, ha 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 ha, because I was laughing at what you guys were talking about. And I was like, wait,
we have no filter
not what
on
I want to say.
No. Yeah. And you ended up putting it in your
yes, it was in my listing. I'm like, okay, I'm going to delete that and write sweater or whatever I was supposed to be typing.
Yeah, the nights when I hosted it, I was lucky. I got Tuesday and Thursday, and then Veronica had 3 nights. So that's a lot because 2 hours at a pop, 2.5 hours at a pop. That's a lot on live. So so on the nights when I was listing, it was on my channel. I actually pre-did all of my listings and just did my listings before I even went live, because I'm like, there's no way I can be distracted. There's this going on and this going on in the chat and all of that. There was absolutely no way I could do that. And because it's like directing a 3-ring circus. You're talking to the other panel members. You're talking to the people in the chat. You're trying to, actually make money online and figure out what, and so nothing's getting your full attention. Mm-hmm. It's tough. It is. And it helps so much to have other people on the channel who are willing to, on the live panel, who are willing to talk, because they can sort of take up that space for you while you get a listing done, and you can actually concentrate on your listing for a minute and just listen for the end of the sound of their voice. But this is interesting that you both are, I knew that you both were already veteran resellers and that this is just a newer thing for YouTube. And I did a video, I just dropped a video, the top 10 mistakes that new resellers make. And of all of the mistakes that I have listed, my top one, I'm just curious, what do you think the top mistake is that brand new resellers make?
I'm gonna take a moment and really think about this.
I can tell you what mine was. It was comparing your journey to everybody else's.
That's a good one.
Keeping up with the Joneses, because that was a mistake that I made over and over again my first year. It was awful. And I'm like, well, this person has, 400 subscribers and I only have 30 and we've been on at the same time. Or, how does this person have 4,000 listings in their closet? Well, okay, but 3,000 of those are sold. So, I mean, it's just, it's really, it's so disheartening to look around and go, well, I'm clearly a failure and everybody else is making tons of money and I'm not. And when in fact, a lot of new resellers, when they get discouraged like that, they just don't realize that it takes us all a little time to get up and running. We all have to, get our knees skinned a couple of times before we know how to ride that bike.
Yeah, I feel like that's a valuable thing in life too. Like I have friends who are constantly looking left, looking right. And I think it's healthy to try to see where you measure up, just to know, am I kind of doing things the right way? Or is there an easier way? Or there's a healthy amount of that to be like, am I going rogue here?
Right.
And there's a point where it can really get to you where it's like, am I enough? Do I measure up? And with stats and numbers, with your stores and closet sizes and all that stuff, and people putting their numbers up there, look how much I made, but it's not really how much they made because it's gross and not net, and they don't tell you how much the cost of goods are. There's so much content out there just on any subject matter that we really have to be careful what we take in that's not toxic for us. But I think you're right. As a new reseller, as a new person in anything, we just have to really take care of ourselves and know when we're getting to that unhealthy space of too much comparison, too much comparisons, like you said. We always say, like in my family, I say eyes on your own paper, like they tell you.
Yes, stay in your lane, honey.
My husband my girls, they'd say eyes in your own urinal. I think that's like a code of conduct. My girls will say eyes in your own urinal, but I think that they're like, it's healthy to a point where you just have to kind of like say, am I doing what's right for me right now? Not necessarily what's right for other people. But there is so much information, it's hard, right?
It is. And some of my tips were like, don't take bolos too seriously, and don't think that being new means that you don't have anything to add to discussions and chats, because you totally do. And things like that, not giving yourself a learning curve. There's a lot to take in. But I think, it's kind of one of those things where everybody's got their own journey, and you have to walk your own road. Nobody can do that for you, and you have to do it in the way that makes most sense for your life and your business model. And if your business model doesn't work, you need to figure out a new way to change. Take a look online. There are a lot of great suggestions. Just don't take anything as gospel truth, because things change all the time.
Yes.
Preach, and they'll be different for you. Your experience is going to be different, even if we have identical items to sell. I think that the biggest mistake new resellers could be making is not treating it like a job. So to look at this and think passive income, it is not. I asked Denali a lot of questions from behind my computer at work as an accounting assistant. Like, I really want to get out of this. I was doing this full time. I was doing reselling part-time and listening to her on my headphones while I was working for someone else. Like, please let this be the answer, because she was a reseller I looked up to who lived in my area, who was making it look like something possible. And it is possible, but I couldn't copy her journey. Mine is unique to me. Some of the best advice she gave me was like, don't start counting your hours and clocking out at 40. When you work for yourself, it's going to most likely be more than that. I work more than that. And I was like, thank you. I needed to know that. It changed how I went forward.
Yeah. I had to make sure that my friends and my family knew that I had actual work hours where I was not going to be. Just because I work from home doesn't mean I'm not working. So, and I think that's any work from home business, really. You have to sort of set boundaries with people and make sure that they're not, make sure that they know that you don't cross those in case of, and unless it's an emergency, just like you would with any other job.
Right.
Yeah. It's such an asset to have flexibility, where if I have an appointment tomorrow in the middle of the day, I know I can make it. I can rework my schedule. I can list at night if need be. But you're right. The boundaries need to be there, and that's including with your own self. You need to get up and go to work. Clothes are not going to sell themselves.
Mm-hmm. I think both of your comments like kind of stem from some of the same truths, because I feel like people anymore are always looking for like the hack. Like, you ever watch those videos where it's like, there's a hack. Did you know that you can use this Scotch tape on a hanger and it turns it into whatever? I didn't know that. I was today.
What hack is a hack? We used to call it shortcut.
Right, yeah. Or like that was the easy button, call it whatever, life hack, whatever we got to call it. But everyone's always looking for like the cheat code. Like, that's the new one, is like, oh, I got the cheat codes for this. And like, there's no cheat code. Just like that, diet and exercise, you have to just be willing to do the work. There's no like magic wand, although now there's that pill that everyone's taking. But like, aside from that,
everybody's going to end up with diabetes from that pill. You watch.
There you go. Yeah, seriously. And that's the thing, is like, there's no shortcut.
Like 5 years from now, it's going to be like, have you or a loved one taken this pill?
It's like the mesh commercials, whatever. The vaginal mesh.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I think everyone's trying to make life simpler because we live in such a busy time. But to your point, Kristen, it's like, you have to be willing to put in the hours. You have to be willing to do the work. And to your point, Glamma, like, it's like, you know what? There's no other journey. Just do your journey and work it. And so maybe we sometimes need to like just take a step back and say, am I doing this the right way? Or, stop trying to shortcut things. You have to take the pictures. You have to get the listings up. You have to do your shipping. You have to get your sourcing. Like, there's no way around it. So,
yeah, there's certain steps, even though I am still finding myself looking for that shortcut, or like, well, how could I do this faster or better? And I struggle with, I no longer want to be part of like the hustle culture. I would love to be a flow culture girly, but I'm like, how do I make this work for me? Because I do want work-life balance. I don't want it to all be work, even if I love the work. I want to sit and enjoy a TV show without feeling the urge to list on my phone at the same time. Yes. I want to be present in that moment, and it is not something that I naturally gravitate towards. Focus on one thing. I'd rather do 12 and then realize later one thing actually needed my full attention, because I didn't do such a great job when I was multitasking.
Is that
any advice on that would be great.
They're not going to get it from me because I suffer from the same thing. But is that a term, flow culture? Or did you just?
I kind of like that.
Because I've heard it on YouTube where people say hustle versus flow. I don't know if flow culture is correct. I probably didn't coin it. It probably went in one ear and out the other until this moment. But hustle versus flow is
you heard it here first.
Being spoken about.
Flow culture. Yes. No, I love it. I mean, it has such a nice vibe to it, and I agree with you. Like, we're so
relaxed.
Yeah, and
which it doesn't sound like it agrees with what I was talking about, because I'm like, you have to do the work. Right. I still believe that, but okay, glad it was on pause. But I don't want to work like 100 hours, but that 40 mark, maybe 30. Like, wouldn't that be nice? But you have to do the work.
Yeah. Maybe we need to come up with a different word, because I feel like flow culture seems almost like letting it flow, like you're letting life happen to you. And I feel like maybe there's like
definitely don't want that. No.
Yeah, like there's like an in between where it's like you're working and you're taking command of your, like, I would say control the controllables. You're working on what you can work on, but then also you're not hustle, where you're like working to exhaustion or, pulling out all the stops. There's like a happy medium. And I do think that work-life balance, like, I don't know if that's an overused term or if it's cliche, because I don't know, like, everyone's balance is different. Like, what feels balanced for you? There are some people, I think the hustle culture people, maybe that feels balanced for them, where they're just constantly achievement focused and achievement oriented. But I think there's a lot of us who like want to feel like we are successful and profitable, but then we're also enjoying the finer things in life. Otherwise, what is it all for, right? Why are we here? Why are we doing this thing?
I want to be in the enjoyment phase now. Thank you.
Yes.
Now till forever. I want to experience and enjoy.
So tell us the plans for Australia, because it sounds like if you're going to enjoy life, like, that's the place to go. There's so much to do. There's so much outdoors. There's so much adventuring and nature. And what's on the bucket list?
To kind of take it easy and just take it all in would be the first thing. I don't know that I have a bucket list. I just know that I want to feel at peace within me. And I haven't had that for a long time, maybe ever. And I'm ready for it. And I just feel like that's my happy place. And also getting to live with your partner. Oh, wow. I miss those days. Mm-hmm. I'm ready to be supported in ways that you just aren't in long distance. Mm-hmm. Like, as much as we try to be present in one another's daily life, sometimes I just need someone to cook me dinner so I can take some time off and not have to make that decision of what's for dinner, while I'm working.
Yeah.
So just enjoying the small moments, I think, would be my bucket list. Now, aside from that, personal goals. Here in the States, I have tried to publish a young adult series that I've written, and I've not been successful. I have not found an agent. I've been denied many times.
So it's written and complete?
The third one is not, but I'm on my way. And now, actually, I want to rework quite a bit of it because I feel like my female characters in particular are not as strong as I want them to be. And I'm a different person today than when I wrote it several years ago. So that's okay. But in Australia, there is a way to send your works straight to the publishing companies. In America, they don't take unsolicited works. You have to go through an agent. If I can skip that step over there because everything is on a smaller scale, and perhaps see my book on a shelf one day. I also have some, I don't know what the content is, so I'm just going to put out the word spicy.
Ooh,
some spicy things
that
I will self-publish.
She got the spice.
I have been waiting and I'm ready. And now my question is, well, do I put those out under my own name or do I pen name them? I'm always debating myself on that. I really respect the writers that put them under their own name, and I follow them all on Instagram, and I'm like, oh, you got some stuff. Love it. And I'm like, could I do that? Could I put my name and reputation to this heated material? I don't know.
I feel like if it takes the pressure off, having a pen name is such a common thing in the writing industry that it's like if it emotionally takes the pressure off so that you're not constantly like, what are people thinking of me or whatever, you know, like relieve yourself of that. But at the same time, then when you're like super famous, you can be like, hey, it's me. the spicy writer is me, guys.
It's me. Who's that smart in my TP?
It's me. It's me.
So I love it.
So what is your genre other than young adult? Like, who are your characters? Is it like, are they in like a fairy realm or are they in like mainstream?
No, but that sounds nice. No, it's based in Greek mythology. So it's the story of a demigoddess who, of course, doesn't know that she is one because that's how most stories begin. You have to find out who you are as you come along this journey. Yeah. But it's really the story of a mother and daughter finding their ways through life, and how much do we rely on our parents and at what point do we step away. Also the mother's perspective, who are we when our children are grown?
This is
so
deep.
Obviously it has nothing to do with my real life.
Of course.
The Marines to figure out. Yeah.
Wow.
My baby was a Marine. Well, once you are for life, I guess, and he's in the reserves. But yeah, it was tough. You're going to be a military mom, and doggy, that's a whole
never thought that, because that's not a decision we make for ourselves. But yeah, that's what I'm about to be.
Yeah, I was honestly, when my son told me he was going to join the military, I was against it. I was completely against it. My youngest son, and I was against it for the reason that any mother is against it, because I don't want my son out there risking his life. And of course, he, first of all, his mind was made up, and so he kept his eye on the prize and worked towards his goal of making a certain physical requirements to get in, because apparently the Marines have some. I'm sure they all have certain physical requirements. I'm sure they do. I can only speak to my own experience, but it was a really tough battle. But once he committed, and once he had already signed the paperwork, and he was, and I could see that this was happening either way, I'm like, okay, you have my full support. I just, I didn't want you to get shot at, but turns out it's really easy to get that done just by going to a concert nowadays, or, you can go to college and get that, or a nightclub. So I'm like, okay, well, at least this way you might have a chance of actually, getting some of yours back.
Be protected by his comrades.
Yeah, you would actually be able to, you might have like bulletproof vest and stuff like that. So yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
But it's a white knuckle experience, Kristen. I can tell you that. And don't be upset if they don't communicate for the first month or two in boot, because they just simply they can't. And a lot of times they will literally fall asleep in their food.
Oh my God.
Like a kid at Disney World. Like it's just too much.
Right.
Wow.
Except
gonna
with
be
somebody
something.
yelling at you. Yeah.
Well, the intense physicality of it too. I mean, like boot camp is not for the faints of heart. So just the physical exhaustion, along with all the other layers of things, I can just imagine. Wow.
When we picked him up after the 3 months of boot camp, we went and picked him up for a week at home before he went on to training. But when I picked him up from boot camp, I almost cried. He was so skinny, and this was all my sons are, my whole family's a little on the fluffy side, so we are we're so fluffy. So
Was that a despicable me?
Yeah. So in high school, even in high school, when the boys were playing football, all of them were, they were linemen. They were kind of, like this. And he started the summer before he went in, he was 230. He got down to exactly 195 to go in. So he had been just like exercising so much. So I thought, and 195 was the skinniest I'd ever seen him. He's like 6'1". And then I pick him up from boot camp, and he was like 175 pounds. He already lost 28 pounds, and I was horrified. The first thing I did was take him every single where on that base where you could purchase food and keep shoveling food at him, because food equals love. And yeah, I know it's silly, but Midwestern mom.
It's a mom thing.
Yeah.
But so did you? Oh, George is on. Hey, George. Did you like find muscle, or was he just from boot camp?
Yeah, it was all muscle. I mean, he was. You could bounce a quarter off of any piece of it.
Wow.
But it was just as a mother, all I wanted to do, and I had missed him so much. It's kind of like when your kids go off to college, you get sort of that empty nester thing, and he was the baby of the family, so that was it made it particularly hard. And I was used to his brothers, his two older brothers. I sort of stayed in and around St. Louis, so he was the first one to just take off, and it broke my heart, but I couldn't be more proud.
Aw. How did he get excited to go into the military? Is somebody else in your family military, or he was just like, I'm doing this?
Well, he has a couple of uncles and great uncles that were Marines. And so he was leaning in that direction to begin with. And he's really somebody who likes a challenge. He always has. And the bonus was he was 16, and it was making me mad. So that was an extra incentive for him, honestly. He's,
He went in at 16?
No.
Oh.
He was 16 when he made the decision.
I was like, how? He's a baby.
That's illegal.
Yeah. Of all people, he came to me with paperwork, and he's like, I need for you to sign this. And I'm like, wait, what is this? And he's stupid, because I was in the hotel business. I did contracts. So I went through the whole thing, and I'm like, no, I'm not signing this. This says you're going early. You're not dropping out of high school and going into the Marines. You're an idiot. I'm like, you're lucky I'm not chaining you to the backyard fence. So I had to wait. He had to wait on that, and I had to, just kind of come to terms with the fact that once he was 18, it was his decision to make, and once he graduated from high school, that was his decision to make. But now he's in he's just next week he starts his junior year of college, and it's totally bought and paid for.
Wow.
Everything, his living expenses, his books, his classes, his everything. Part of his transportation cost, his food cost, everything.
And he had time then to think about it from 16 to 18. So like if he was going to change his mind, if he was wishy-washy about it, like that was a buffer, but then to like graduate and not have expenses and being shouldered by student debt and doors open for you with a military background and stuff, that's awesome.
Yeah, well, now he gets discounts at restaurants too, so that's nice.
Yeah, Goodwill.
Hi, how you doing? Here's
hey,
gorgeous.
Hi. Does
Yeah,
Raquel have a channel?
I don't have the chat open, so I apologize if anything is happening and I'm just blatantly ignoring
It's
it.
one less thing for you to have to look at.
Yeah, it's tough to do on the phone. I'm going to hop out of the studio and hop back into the chat, so we can just hang out and list, because I'm almost finished with this description on this dress, but now I have to do like bust, waist, blah, 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 all of that jazz. So it's stuff that I actually have to pay attention to.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us live, Glamour. And if you get all that done and you want to just hang out again, just come back in and we'll let you back in. I'm inviting George in as well. I want you guys to get to meet him also. He is an awesome reseller with a really fun YouTube channel. He's in England, so it's a totally different vibe and a totally different time zone, of course. But
George, I get it, George. You know, it's
George.
funny. My maiden name was George. It was Dana George. So it's a hello, George.
Yes, well, you'll love his sweet little accent, and he's just such a good guy and darling, and he's a fun reseller too. He is a bit of an everything reseller, so some of the stuff that he shows, he's got a little bit of everything. So I recommend checking out his channel. And hey, you guys, if you can, drop in the chat a plug for your channel so people can find a link right to you, because I don't really know how to do that. Or you know what, I can just go on and copy it if I take a second, but feel free to plug your own channel. And Kristen, if you want people to consider hiring you, like if you decide that you want to do it on your own without going through Fiverr or Upwork or whatever, feel free to drop your contact information in the chat as well, so that you can kind of have like a base of people. I don't know I don't know if you've given thought to that, so I don't want to start putting out your services for
let's go for it. It's $1 a listing, and my email is wellreadwardrobe@gmail.com.
Okay.
See how it goes.
Also, guys, don't forget to, at any time that you're in my Sunday brunch live or any of my lives, you are more than welcome to drop a link. More than welcome. I encourage it. So please drop a link, drop an email, whatever you want to drop in the live is fine. Just, don't drop your subscription. I know. I've got mom jokes all day.
Tip your bartenders, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll be here all night.
But
I will be in the chat all night. So hi, Raquel. Mwah.
So does Raquel have a channel? Raquel,
So
if you want to jump on the live.
Okay, so I'm going to pop out and
get that listing finished. What number are you on?
She is adorable. I'm on number 3.
Okay.
So I'm
kind
of excited. I finished the Wang. That's what she said. So I just finished that. She said, no, thank you. That's okay. I'll be in the chat with you, Raquel. I'll be there in a second. Okay, bye guys.
Thank you again for joining us.
I will be in the chat in a second.
Yay!
Hey,
thank
Mr.
you.
Leather and Lace. Good to see you. Okay, I'll be in the chat in a second.
Oh, so George just sent me a message. George, I'm sorry. I'm so dense. I said I dropped my email in the chat and so that he could come on live. And he sent me a message, hi. And I was like, hi. I didn't realize that it was him. Oh boy, I really it's amazing that I can function in life. Isn't that remarkable? All right, now I have to find.
It's like the end of the day for you as well, on top of everything else that you've done today, and now you're hostessing.
Well, it's nice of you to say that, but I think it's just it's just a personal issue. And this is funny because it's just when Glamma went out, I have to figure out how to find the link. Glamma, if you're still watching or listening, how do I find the link? I sent it obviously to you guys before. Oh, you know what? I know where it is. Hold on. Hold, please.
It was in my Poshmark closet.
Yeah, right. It's like, well, no, we're not going to find it that way. But I thought I just clicked this copy thing, but it was before everything was live. So that's part of my dysfunction. Oh, George.
Well, you get that handled. I'm finishing up another listing, I know you can't see it, but I have a little story to go with the sweater. If you want to find your link.
Yeah, no, I got the story.
I went to Play-Doh's this week, as my per usual now, and they bought everything except this sweater. And I didn't have like a huge amount. I think I had like 20 items. I just don't have as much to bring until like, I joked with the manager. I'm like, in 4 weeks, I might just show up with like 800 items. Like, you can have my whole store.
Oh dear. They don't know what's happening.
She was like, oh, I loved everything except this one sweater has some like cuts on it. And I laughed because I had picked it up from the bins and it has distressing like here on the collar. And at the bottom, it looks like someone took some scissors and just like had a heyday. And I found the model stock photos and it's supposed to look like that.
See? Oh my gosh, right.
And she laughed and she's like, yeah, someone's going to ask me for a discount on that. And I was like, I'm going to sell it online and I will use the stock photo just to prove.
Yeah.
No one's child took scissors to this sweater, I promise.
What brand is
wanted you to look like this? It's called Gilded Intent. And when I looked it up, it sold at Buckle. I've never been inside a Buckle, but
yeah,
I hear it sells decently. And it's a really cute cream colored sweater, oversized with brown argyle print. And I'm a huge fan of anything that I could like pretend I went to Oxford University and I was wearing this.
Make sure you put all those tags in there, like academia and all that stuff.
In fact, I should put Oxford and like Gilmore Girls. Hi, George.
Hello, everybody.
George, this is everybody. Everybody, this is George.
Hello, all the way from England. How are we?
Yes, he's so exotic.
It's quite late. It's quite late here. It's just midnight.
I was actually going to ask, what are you doing up, number one? And you seem to be working, so I'm very impressed.
I am. Well, it's the so basically, I've barely done any work today. I went out sourcing. I went to like the thrift stores over here. I went to some charity shops and I picked up some stuff. And then I got back and I watched the football because it was the women's not quarterfinal. That's it. And we won. We got through, so we're into the final. So it's the ladies' football, ladies' soccer. So yeah, we're really excited. And then I dozed off and I fell asleep. And I woke up like an hour ago, and I thought, oh God, I need to do some work.
So you come to the right place.
Well, I thought I'll do some work. I've done some pictures, and then I thought, oh, I need to do all this clothing. So I've got quite a bit of clothing to do. So I'm in the middle of doing some clothing. So yes, that's my day. That's my story.
I'm so glad that our US timeline has helped you out after your little power nap and whatever else.
Well, that's what I love. I think the Australian one is happening in a couple of hours. I'll probably.
Well, I thought they lost last night. I thought
was it last night?
Yeah.
Oh, probably missed it. Never mind. I'll watch back.
It was my yesterday. I'm like, what time is it there? Yes, I heard they lost.
Yeah,
well.
I don't want to show my face in the Australian reseller chat because it was England versus Australia and we won. So I was like, I'll just wait until next week.
Who's hosting the Australian chat?
I think it's someone called. There's two. There's I think her name's Grumpy Granny.
I don't know her. I need to know her.
Disgruntled Octopus. They do a YouTube kind of podcast, and
I've seen them before. Yeah.
There's a big group, and they're on the daily refinement chat and everything. So there's a few of them. There's about 4 or 5 of them that kind of jump on. But yeah, they're good. They're a giggle. They are funny.
They're a giggle. So, yeah. Kristen, I want you guys to get to know each other and to get to follow each other's channels. Kristen is moving to Australia, so she has to now get all up to speed on all the Australian stuff, and then she's
I'm literally taking notes.
All right. Have you heard about?
Got it.
Yeah. And check Mel from Back from Burnout.
Oh yes, I follow her and Maddie on the Aussie Flipper.
Yeah, the Aussie Flippers. And there's also, is it Retro Rescue on? They do Instagram. I don't know if they do YouTube, but they're a couple and they're young resellers, and they pick up really cool stuff, like 80s, 90s kind of things. But yeah, I'm trying to think, is there any more? There's a few. I think his name is John the Reseller, Jon, and then the Reseller. I don't know if he's got a YouTube channel though. I'm not sure, but he comes into the chat quite a lot. So, but yeah, it's when are you going? That's exciting.
4.5 weeks.
Oh, I know you move in like lock, stock, and barrel everything like your whole life, or is it just like for like a job or something?
Nope, my whole life. But I'm not bringing very much because it costs too much to send things over. And so now I have decided to not be attached to anything except one chair. And that will come with me.
Just the chair, just the chair.
Like, all I need is this chair.
No, that's good
all
though,
I
because
need.
it's like you say, it's like you don't want to move everything. Plus, it's the perfect excuse to kind of get rid of everything and like be minimalist.
Or
am
the perfect
minimalist.
excuse to buy more. Now I have
Yes,
to go shopping. Okay, see what I did?
that's it.
Like,
That's
I
it.
just will have to buy some
know-
new stuff.
I know that their thrift stores are called op shops or op shops.
Yep.
And I was like, what is that? What's that? And I've learned about op shops. I was like,
What does that stand for? What's an op shop? Is
I
that
don't
like
know.
Opportunity.
Opportunity. Yeah.
okay?
Kind of like your charity shops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I've been learning about them quite a lot, but I've never been to Australia. I think it's just a bit too far for me. I'm up. Europe is fine because it's only like an hour away. Essentially, it's only like an hour and a half away, so I can kind of hop on a plane, and that's fine. But I struggled when I went to Bahamas and Puerto Rico and all that around there a few years ago, and I was panicking throughout the flight. I'm a terrible flyer. Terrible. Even the thought, I'm like, oh.
How far would the
Go to
flight be
sleep.
from Australia to England, or vice versa?
I don't know. I think it's
I
like. Is it
I
12
feel like it
hours?
was like 20. I haven't done that flight yet. My boyfriend did when we met in England several years ago. And I know he had a layover. So that, of course, extends your actual travel
Yeah.
time, but it's not one flight. But I feel like it was like a 20-hour travel.
Mm,
That maybe included like a 3-hour stop.
I think is it in Singapore? Sometimes they stop
Yes,
for
I think
Singapore or
that's what it
India,
was.
somewhere like that. But yeah, I think if I was to go any further, it'll have to be flying, possibly to like Turkey, and then get maybe trains because I can't. I'm terrible. I'm really bad, and it's like I'm a rational person. I feel like I'm a rational human being, but get me on a flight, and I'm like, oh no, it's. I don't know. Even movies, even like these movies set on planes. Nope. I'm
No
such a
snakes
wimp.
on a plane for you? No?
No. I don't care if it's got Samuel L. Jackson. I'm not going to watch it. So I watched the trailer for it and I was like, nope, no, thank you.
20
Yeah.
hours is a long time to be in any confined space. And if you're not like a happy, joyful flyer, I could see that being a really tough journey anyway. So I was going to suggest that we drug you, George, and then like
Wow.
I'll hop on a plane and we'll just crash Kristen's like new place and be like, we're here to thrift at the op shop. And
I'll be
then
heavily
for it.
medicated. I'll be heavily medicated when flying.
Oh. I see some comments in the chat. You guys all have fans here. Glamma's back in the chat. Veronica came on. She
Oh, yay. Hi, Veronica.
yeah, so she was moving today. Today's moving day for her.
Okay.
So
I hope that
she-
went well. I hope you're enjoying your
said
visit
that-
with your mom.
She said she's not doing anything reselling related tonight, but she wanted to come on and say hi, which is awesome. I don't know Dusty Leather and Raquel. I would love to hear from you guys and have you introduce yourselves and get to know you guys because I don't know you. And unless you guys know them, they might be some of your fan club. I Dream of
Don't.
Crafting knows George, right?
I know Dream of Crafting. Hello.
And I love that you guys have dropped all these names. Glamma's knows Grumpy Granny, and some people are saying that they enjoy Lindsay and Alvin's channel. I think that's another one that you guys were talking about.
Yeah, Lindsay and
Oh,
Alvin.
is that one of the that
They're
maybe-
over here.
intro?
They're in the UK.
Okay. And then you got a shout out, George, from Veronica. I don't know if you know Veronica Mitzka or with a K. She has a fun channel, and she's from Germany, if I'm not mistaken, but she lives here in the States. And she says, "Do you have a channel? Because she can listen to you all day, baby."
I do have a channel. I'm trying to. Oh no, I can't. Oh no, I'm not. Here's me. I'm so gauche. I'm like. I thought I could link the channel, and I'm not a moderator. Is there any moderators?
No, but I'll make you one if you tell me how.
Okay, so you go to my name.
Yeah.
and you go to the right, and it comes up with like 3 little dots, or like an options, and you can click on that, and it says add as moderator or something like that, or make as
So this
moderator.
is on StreamYard though.
Oh no,
So
it's on the YouTube. Are you in the chat on YouTube?
I'm not. Can I? Should I do that? I should be in both at once.
Yeah, you just if you mute the YouTube one, then there's no echo.
All right, hold please. Novice YouTuber here. Talk amongst yourselves.
Is everybody listening, or is it just me?
Sorry?
Is everybody listing, or is it just me?
Oh no, I'm on number 9,
You're on number
but
9.
most of this was done earlier. Like these are prepped drafts because I
Ah.
can't concentrate on everything at once. But I'm filling things in on a site called Vendu. Do you have any cross-listing services over there, George?
We've got something called Zip Sale, and we've got I think, is it List Perfectly or List?
Oh yeah, we have that one.
We have it, but that's tiny. That's just kind of started, and I think there's there's something called crosslisting.co.uk. That's the new one that's popped up, but the biggest one is called Zip Sale, and most people use that one, to be honest.
And what platforms do you sell on?
eBay, Depop, and Vinted. We do have Poshmark. It came over here in March, finally, because it's been years for us to be like, come on. I am on there, but I haven't listed anything on there because it's not been rolled out to the general public yet. It's just getting sellers onto the platform.
Well, that's cool that you're in at the start.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm so lazy. I think I was like, oh, should I just start now? And I thought, no, I'll wait until like August, September-ish, and then put as much as I can on for Q4 and just see how it goes as a tester. Because I have a feeling that they're going to release it to the general public and start advertising around Q4. Otherwise, it's a missed opportunity. So I have a feeling that they're going to push it around then. So hopefully I might capitalize on that. I'm just being lazy.
I have an Australian account. They started, I think, in 2020 or 2021 in Australia, but I wasn't actually there. So I just have an account with nothing. And I asked, well, could I transfer my American account? Because I've made all the efforts over here. I have all of the feedback over here. I'm a Posh ambassador too, which means nothing. But I feel like I still want it. I want all my accolades over there. And they said, no, doesn't work like that. So I was like, okay.
So you have to start from scratch almost.
I have to start over, and I couldn't even have my same name because even though each country has their own Poshmark, it is tied together through that at the very least. So I'm like well-read AU or something like that. I don't even know what my name is over there, but I'm a little bummed about starting over, trying to tell myself like, it's okay, embrace it. It's fun.
Just fun. You have to have that good happy mindset, right?
Yeah. I'm lying to myself right now, but I'm like, it'll be fun to be at 0.
Well, I think some people talk about doing that though. They're like, I'm intentionally going to just start from scratch as a reset. Like, use this. Think of it on a positive. Like, if you could create any store, you don't have to worry about like bad inventory coming over with you. You are just able to source and start fresh and just do it. You have all this experience now. Do it however you want it to be. That's like, you have to just reframe it, because otherwise you'll drive yourself. You'll be like, dang it.
Yes, because otherwise I'm like, oh, I might not be attached to anything but this chair, but also my closet name and ambassador status, apparently. Gotta let that go too.
I had a bit of an issue on Depop because you're only allowed one shop, but I had 2. I had one for clothing, and then I had one for everything else, because you can sell quite a lot on Depop. And I put them at separate, because you can have multiple accounts, but as long as they're on separate bank accounts. So I had that, and then I changed one of the bank accounts just because I was closing one of the bank accounts down. So I moved it over to the other one thinking it wouldn't be a big deal. Anyway, they contacted me and was like, no, you can't do that. No. Okay, fine. Because it was just cleaner having clothing on one, niching on that what's it, and then everything else. And it was a bit, I'm a bit OCD. It was nice and clean. But now they told me like, oh, you can't do that. We're going to close this one down. And I loved the name. I loved the name for it, and they closed it down. It was just called Project 88. It's not available anymore. It's not on. They've taken it down completely. But it was just the logo that I had for it was really cool, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, I can't use it on Depop. I can use it everywhere else, which I haven't done. But like, I was like, oh, that's really good. But now, I was like, oh, I really like the name. I can't change it now, so I can't use it on Depop.
Well, George, we will call you George Project 88 from now on. It will live on, right?
It's weird. That was the only I used it on Depop, and I didn't use it on any other of my accounts. Like that's you can search for it on YouTube on eBay. That's not my eBay store, I promise. But it just like it looked really cool in the Depop little icon. I was like, oh.
When you said you had a cool logo, did you make the logo yourself? Because the one on your channel with all the like when you launch a video, it's got like this crackle and the colors. I'm like, yeah, George, he's so high tech. It's really cool. Did you do that yourself or?
That is like my tag from high school. So a friend did that for me. It's like a so if you look down the middle, it's like a reflection. So it's like
mirrors.
What do you call it? Yeah, it's like a mirror. Like visually, it's like a mirror. But it's JAWG, which over here we say jaws, like jaw. You know, so it makes sense for English, but over there everyone said jog. What's jog? Just essentially. But yeah, so my friends knew it. Like one of my friends, he created it, and I use that for like my tag, like you know when you doodle in your book and everything, and it's just stuck forever in my head, like doing that because it's easier to do on like just doodle. So I thought, oh well, it's my name and it's this, so I thought I'll use that. And then I went. Actually, you spoke about Fiverr. I went to Fiverr. And I got someone else to do it for me, that little intro, because I'm high tech, but not at that level.
You're mid tech.
Yeah, mid tech. Yeah, basically I'm mid tech. So, but I hired someone to do that. It only cost like I think it was like $6. Someone from the Philippines did it, so I was just like, oh, that's really good. So I just use that.
Yeah, I have to say, like, so I feel like I've had better experiences on Upwork versus Fiverr, but I feel like both of those sites, I know two people currently who are out of work, and I'm like, just go on Fiverr, just go on Upwork, because like you can get gig work and just work as much or as little, or even like kids who are right out of college who are like into graphic design or any of that stuff, like just to build a brand and to build a name. Even if you get paid $1 for something, you can say, I've been hired to do graphic design. It was a $6 logo for George, but you know, that's work. Like it's nobody needs to know. I feel like it's hard when people aren't willing to take advantage of opportunities. That like weighs heavy on my heart.
And I think as well as like you can, for starting out, you can like if say like you're a designer and you need to build up like a reputation, do it cheap for the first like 2 or 3 weeks. Get loads of reviews so it looks like people like, oh, it's trusted. It's quite trusted kind of level, and then increase your price as you go along. It's not that hard.
Yeah, for sure.
I've got a friend that does editing on it.
So, George, you got a shout out from I Dream of Crafting. George, Lindsay, and Alvin are fabulous. And of course, you, which I think she was talking to Veronica. And they have a whole bunch of back and forths, you know, and dropping the channels and subbing back and forth, which I absolutely love. So, Kristen, I think we need to add your channel to the chat so that people can sub to you. Oh, George, are you on it? I know you're good at it. George is he's mid-tech, so he's on it.
I don't know how to do it, but I do have the chat on another window that I've been, neglecting.
Don't worry,
What's
George.
The channel name? I'm just trying to.
Well, red, RED, like the color, wardrobe. Yeah. See, everything matches except for my Australian closet. You know, eBay will let me transfer, so at least I have that.
I've subbed as well. Let me copy in.
Yay.
So there we go.
Thank you.
All done. Everybody go sub.
All the love. I love it. So the goal is to be listing, but we're also being chatty. So it's good that we have George here. Glamma was here before, and we can all kind of take turns chatting while we're listing. Kristen, how are your listings going
Going well. Currently, I can't get on that tab. Now my computer is like, no, I don't want to. So I'll just attend to the phone.
Okay.
I think that was number 9.
Woo!
Like I said, these were preloaded. I had most of the information there. I was just filling out the forms for specifics for eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari, and Kitizen for most of them. Because I just figure throw them on all of the platforms and see where it sells.
Get them sold. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And anybody in the chat, please feel free to drop your numbers if you want us to help you stay accountable or stay motivated, or just hang out like we've been doing. And if you sell anything, let us know too.
Work chat. Becky, I had some questions for you, if you don't mind being chatty for a little bit.
Oh, lay it on me.
Also, I am plugging this in. Well, I was curious about your consignment and how much of your business is consignment. I know that you go thrifting at least occasionally because you found some real cool things and show us, but how do you prioritize your purchases versus your consignment clients?
Yeah, so the prioritizing is a delicate balance. And what's delicate about it in particular is that things just keep coming and it's on a random schedule. Like I'll have somebody who will say, I have things, can you swing by? Or the next time you're in my area, or, let's meet up wherever. And so then it's coming in on their schedule, not on my schedule. And so I have to be really on top of making sure that it's, not superseding someone else who's kind of patiently waiting in line. I also have some people who are on like they say, I just don't care when this sells. I just want it out of my house. And then I can, kind of prioritize them versus someone who needs like quick money. Like I know someone who uses the revenue to like pay her mortgage and her household expenses. So she kind of gets a little bit more priority. I put that in my contract, like so that people can tell me if they need a quick flip and I'll price things accordingly. But otherwise, all of my consigners are so blessedly chill and just so wonderful. I have one who kind of like checks back with me and it's mostly she just gets really excited. Like she's like, what's selling? Tell me what's going on. How are things looking? Like she just gets really excited. And I know she's elderly. So I hate to use the word elderly because she's out doing stuff and she's goes out. Like I feel like elderly is a word that makes her sound like she's like a recluse or something, but she's just older and like technology is not her friend. And so she's afraid of scammers and stuff. So I think she would be doing it on her own if she was a little bit more comfortable with the internet. And I've told her, I'm like, I'll teach you how to do this. But I also think with like the shipping and getting the supplies and all that stuff, it's just, she's not there with that. So that's kind of how I prioritize things. And then what was your first question?
I did ramble on a bit there. How much of your business is consignment and how much is your own?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I would say in terms of how many things I list, if I'm listing like 20 or 30 a day, I'm probably listing 90% consignment and 10% myself. And that's really just like, I feel like I have an obligation to my consigners, but I have so many consigners who have just given me so much inventory that I know I also have to pepper in my own things or else like my things won't get, sold either. And I love thrifting. I love that, like you said before, the hunt, the thrill of the hunt, and so I don't want to not have that component to my business. But I don't need to thrift by any stretch. And it's kind of like the thrill of the hunt when a consignor drops off a bag or a box or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's in here? It could be trash. It could be treasure. And then, I get to find out what I have. For example, look what sold today. I got from one of my consigners a garbage bag. Okay, wait for it. I think I've spoken about this before. A garbage bag filled with Funko Pops, just rammed all in the garbage bag.
Oh, wow.
And then she like shoved it in my trunk. And then when I opened it, I was like, like the box matters,
Oh my God.
And yeah, so they were, dinged up, whatever. But I just listed the condition and they weren't terrible. This is from the show Arrow. Do you guys know that show?
Yeah, it's like a superhero show.
Yeah. And this is actually the Arrow who sold, and he sold for $41, which
Wow.
I think I did really well on that one.
Cool.
Because I've had it listed for a while and I just let it ride. So damage and all, actually that box wasn't terrible, but that's like case in point. I never know what I'm going to get. Like now I'm selling Funko Pops and I've never sold Funko Pops. So I have to do some research.
And do you put them on buy it now, or do you just do them all? Do you do any on auction?
Believe it or not, George, that was on Poshmark. Isn't that weird?
Oh, wasn't it?
I know.
Oh, there you go.
Right. So do you guys remember in one of my hauls, selling one of my consigners, her daughter works as either a bartender or a server. So she's got all these shirts that are Yingling and all the different beer brands. This is just a basic white shirt. It says Bud Light across the top. I just listed this last night and it sold this morning for $15. So I was like, am I going to sell these beer shirts or not? And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell these beer shirts. So I just never know what I'm going to get. And, that's what kind of keeps it interesting. But I do have to keep really super organized, Kristen. Otherwise, the wheels fall off and it all goes to pot.
I bet. So have you ever said no to something you find in one of those bags from your consignment clients?
Yes. And also, in addition to them being really chill, every one of my consigners has said, I don't want any of these things back in my life. If they don't sell, if they're not in sellable condition, I don't want them back. And so then I have authority, and it's in my contract that if after the consignment period is over, I maintain possession of the item, I can donate it, whatever. And everybody is really chill about that. So that's a blessing. I think if I had diva clients who like wanted to nitpick things or wanted them back to do whatever with, it would kind of spoil the experience or make it more challenging somehow. So that is very, very helpful that I have an open-ended timeline and I don't have people who want to pressure or, need to know what's happening with their items or things like that. I do get, I just tell people put everything in a bag and give it to me and I will make the differentiation over whether it's sellable or not. So they are giving me things that are stained or ripped or I've seen things in every condition. And so then I sort and get rid of whatever I think isn't sellable. But I'm in charge. I'm the woman with the power.
You are the boss.
I can say no. And it's hard though, because I do feel like a little bit obligated or beholden to them to make sure that I get a good return or that I am doing right by them. So that's a component that when you are selling your own things, you don't have that layer of I have to sell this or I should sell this or I'm going to try to sell this,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot
of my light.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of resellers like suffer from some element of I could sell that. Like this will give a return, and like saying no when you're out at the thrift is just as hard as saying no when you have free inventory from consigners.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my mum gave me a bag of clothing not too long ago, and it was basically like we've got a brand called Next over here, and I'm trying to think of an equivalent.
Say the name again. Next. Yeah,
it's kind of it's semi fast fashion, but it's quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just one up, but it's retail at the end of the day.
Like
and it doesn't really go very quickly. However, she gave me all this free stuff, and I was like, okay, she's lost lots of weight, so they were all in larger sizes. So I thought, okay, that's fine. I can try and bundle them all up. Anyway, I put them up individually. I thought I'll do that for like a couple of weeks and just see how they go. They all sold within a week.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's
so
great.
you never know what sells. You don't need to go for like the big kind of Balenciaga, Moschino, Gucci kind of brand. The smaller brands are your bread and butter at the end of the day. And yeah, that's what kind of opened my eyes up. And I was like, oh my god, strange.
Yeah. And so many people like won't pick those things up because they're like, oh, it's not a sexy brand or it's not a high dollar. But there's a lot of resellers who make up their entire business is built upon high volume, low dollar. Now, I don't know that that's ideal, but you can really make a good, income doing that. It's just, you have to have a really good streamlined system, get a lot. It's volume. It's like more listings to get them sold.
Yeah. More volume. Yeah, exactly. I know a couple of people who are like that. They go to like jumble trails and jumble sales and like garage sales and stuff. And there's a few where they sell clothing for like 10 pence or like 50 pence. That's where they'll get the money if they sell them for like say £10 or plus. So yeah, it's funny, isn't it? How what sells? I always get like a oh wow kind of syndrome as well, like like when I go into a charity shop and I'm like, oh that's amazing, I could sell that, and then I have to kind of like check myself and say like, hang on, check the comps. You never know.
I was talking about that on the mistakes resellers make too, is not picking up certain brands because they're not on somebody's BOLO list. And I said, J. Crew is on nobody's BOLO list. It's just not like, fancy. It's not, you're right, George, is not sexy. But by the same token, I have never, ever, ever met a J. Crew pencil skirt that did not sell. I make $20 easy on every single one, and I have 100% sell-through rate with those. I just sold another one. People just love them. Yeah, basics don't underestimate. Anyway, I just came on to do my victory lap because I did 5. Woohoo! I did my 5.
Oh yeah, we need some more sounds.
And now I'm just gonna hang out and I don't know, say things in the chat.
I've got a.
I love that you have that. And George, you're utterly charming. Do not change a thing. Okay,
Brenda, you have to subscribe to George's channel because anytime that he does a lot of lives, and so anytime that someone makes a sale during his live, he blows the horn.
Yeah.
Yay! I actually did just sub. I think I put it in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
I said, George, I just sub-sandwiched George because I wasn't sure if you wanted the word sub in the chat or not. So I just put, I sub-sandwiched George. Yay! Sub-sandwich. That's a sandwich.
Is that a word we should stay away from in chat?
Sandwich?
No.
Say it.
It's like a glamis sandwich.
It's like a glamage. Ooh, a glamage.
I'll put your channel in the chat as well. Hang on.
Okay.
And Veronica, I just put up a message that she had a sale, so we'll play the sale song.
Oh, it sounds like a march. Hold on. I salute you.
You can tell I'm a Girl Scout troop leader, right? I mean, come on, guys.
Okay, I'm going to go back to listing and back to the chat where I belong.
Yeah, no, you belong wherever you want to be, baby. I'm glad that you guys get to meet each other.
I kind of do belong with the sandwich right now. I'm starting to feel that. Okay,
And
bye.
See you again. We'll see you in the chat. Does
you,
I
Grandma.
Dream of Crafting have a channel on YouTube? Or there was somebody else I think I saw. If anybody else wants to join us on the video, just send me. If you look up in the chat, I dropped my email address. You can email me. Say your name. I'm so sorry, George. You're like, it's me. I'm emailing you because it's me.
Yes. She does have a channel, but I don't know if she's uploaded in a while.
Okay.
Just double check.
What is her name? I Dream of Crafting. Introduce yourself, friends. And we had our other friend, Shagan was on earlier, but I don't know where he went.
Oh, yeah, he popped up in my thing before.
Or were you live, George? I didn't know you were live earlier.
No, it was on Instagram. Not
Oh.
on my Instagram. And I put up a video and he commented on it.
Oh,
I can't find
she doesn't have a channel. She's not that brave. Okay.
Oh, right, okay.
Not that brave. See, look, anybody can do it. We're doing it right here.
I know. I was terrified about it. I just like the first for a few years ago when I started the channel, I was like, oh, and I didn't show my face. I was like, oh, I'm not brave enough to do it because I don't know. I just was like, oh. Anyway, I just thought, no, sod it. I'll just do it.
I love your channel. You are so like genuine and natural and easy to watch and fun and
Oh, thank
yeah,
you.
I love that. I think that people like probably overthink. I mean, I just hopped on YouTube because I'm like, hey, I need friends.
I like your lives because it's like I do. It's the same reason that I do my lives. It's like accountability as well. It's like, okay, I need like something to almost prove to myself that I've done a little bit of work today.
Right.
And it's like, even if it be 5, that's good.
Yeah. That actually, that has been such a dream for me because it does keep me to task. And then if I say like in my head, I'm going to try to like wrap this up so I can go live at this time or whatever. Like it just sets my day in the right direction. And so the lives have been huge for me. Plus, I don't know if you were on earlier when I mentioned this, Alan, he has been holding me to my 30, my goal of 30. And so he'll ask, did you get your number? And so now I have my viewers also holding me accountable, which is like the best sort of scenario because now I really can't slack at all.
Okay, I don't know Alan. So in my head, this is Barbie Allen who's holding you accountable, and that's just equally as adorable. I'm like, he would hold you up. Yes.
Alan Starbuck, but I've never met Alan, and he doesn't have a channel where he has videos, but I will say he introduced me to symphonic heavy metal. So I have a feeling he's not like the Alan in the Barbie movie.
You never know.
But he is so thoughtful and just considerate, and he's great to check in. So I appreciate him. Angry Otter Comics just jumped in, and I feel like I know you, Angry Otter. Were you on the live when we were with? Yeah, Kristen. He was on.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Is that Michael, the filmmaker?
Oh, right. Okay.
I'm hoping I've got things right in my head, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if
Grandma
I've
just
got
said
that
it.
incorrect.
No, she said it. Michael, her gorgeous angel. Oh, I love this community. Like everybody is just like looks out for each other and friends. And I Dream of Crafting's name is Jackie, and she was a full-time reseller many years ago. And then family came first. I love that. As a mom, and she had a child with disabilities. Yeah. And mental health. I feel like mental health can be so challenging in reselling, especially if everyone has different challenges, but like if you have issues with like addiction, sourcing clothing can be addictive. Or if you have issues with hoarding, like we can have hoarder houses because we're taking in things if you're not processing them quickly. So like I can totally see how it would be a challenging job.
And it can be so isolating.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying these lives because it gives me an actual back and forth. I also really love having YouTube on and listening to reseller content while I work. And in fact, even though Melissa's my best friend, there are times where we get in the car together and she'll say something and I'm like, yeah, and I already no, wait, I didn't tell you. I told you on my TV as you were speaking through your channel. So let me tell you in real life. So yeah, having someone to actually have a real conversation with about your passion and your work, I think is important.
It is. It's quite solitary, isn't it? When you're doing stuff all by yourself and you're kind of like, you could literally stay in the house for like 2 or 3 days and not speak to anybody. So doing like lives or interacting, like you say, it's like a little bit of human connection.
Right. And we're all like lunatics together because like not only is it just genuine human connection, but we all have that common thread. We're living in the same space. We know the same hurts and struggles or frustrations, and having those like that coworker relationship. If you work a desk job and something happens, you might turn to your coworker and be like, hey, can you believe this? Or what would you do in this scenario? You have that kind of camaraderie, kind of like Lama was saying before, like when we were talking about eyes on your own paper, but like you look left and right to see what we should be doing or if there's a different way or a better way. And then having people to bounce things off of, you don't think about it until you don't have it. And then you're like, well, wait, I have a problem. Who can I turn to? And you're so lucky, Kristen, you have people right in your hometown that you can actually like have a face-to-face conversation with. I don't have that here. So I have one friend who's reselling, but she's new. So I'm actually helping her. And I'm like, well, who do I go to when I have stuff? And here we are. So
online. I will definitely be leaning on the online community and my friends who are local now, soon to be long distance, because the few friends that I have in Sydney and my partner, they're not thrifters. Like I had a friend like leave me at a shop because like I was there for a lot of hours.
You're taking too long.
I'm done. I think I'm gonna go home. And I'm like, okay.
I'm just getting started.
And my boyfriend calls it the boyfriend seat. He's got to go find the boyfriend seat because he knows I can just be there. I'm like, okay, I need to maybe be a little more reasonable with people who are not resellers and what a healthy shopping time might look like. Because
Yeah.
I'm used to being like, well, we're going to be here for 6 hours. I have to see everything.
So are you an everything seller? I don't think so, right? I know you sell dog jackets.
It is listed. It is listed. Now, I'm primarily women's fashion. I dabbled in kids since that's where I started with, but I am so out of touch with like that market right now that the things that I've picked up are not, they're not worth picking up. I'm like, okay, let me just kind of stay in my own lane here and not just pick up everything because it looks cool or I want to save it from a landfill. I'm occasionally a hard goods seller if I just really cannot leave it at the bins because then it might be destroyed.
Yeah, so I think that's like another thing like that weighs on a lot of us is like I need to save this. You know, there's what's her name? Rebel Reseller. Have you guys seen her on YouTube? She is just
Possibly.
Yeah, so she's an everything seller. Forget where she lives in the South somewhere. Her name is actually Rebel. Like that's her God-given or her born name. I guess God didn't give her that name. That was her name. And, right. Yeah, exactly. And she sells mainly like little plushes and Fisher Price, like collectible toys, like mainly stuff for kids. And I feel like she's an emotional attachment to things from raising her kids, but she also connects a lot of people. Like, you know, like if your child lost their little lovey and you have to replace it. So like she connects them with like these loveys and stuff. And she talks about like saving vintage stuffed animals from the landfill. And you can tell it's so dear to her heart that I think she gets joy then from what she does. But it's also like, sometimes I'm like, oh, thank goodness she saved it. I'm like, I can't, why am I putting this emotional value on someone else's thrifting trip? You know, we're all lunatics, aren't we? Glamour has a sale, so hold on, we got to get our kazoo back out. Oh. Woo! All right. What did she sell? She said pink mother of the bride dress. Ooh, that sounds like a nice sale too. And George, where's her toot? Yeah. You got it. Okay. Toot toot. Well done, Glamour.
I had an offer through which I accepted, but they haven't paid yet, so I'm classing it as a sale.
Oh, hold on. All right, get out your kazoo.
It's just some shoes.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, before you put it away, I finished my 10 listings. I'm ready for my reward.
Thank you. Awesome. There are 10 listings, so now you have to start working on your 12 for.
I'm gonna cut out of the live because I will need to focus. The difference between the listings that are my own is that I've touched these items. I know when I see the picture, whether I took the picture 2 weeks ago or yesterday, I'm like, oh, that's super soft, and I remember certain things about it. As a virtual assistant, I am heavily focused on the photos that Melissa took to gain as much information as I can to bulk up that listing.
You have to be more detail oriented.
Yeah, I'm a little more focused for other people, which maybe is good. Maybe it's like even though it's like extra work, it's also a brain break in a way for me because I'm heavily focused and then I feel empowered to go and finish out my own night with more things for my own store. But again, I'm in a weird place in life right now where it is a lot of hustle for the next month, and then I'm going to enjoy not working all the time.
Right. So there's an end in sight, and you know that
yes.
The short bit of flurried activity is going to pay off.
I just don't want to come off as like I'm encouraging everyone to just keep drinking coffee and go. Like, no, absolutely. Take your breaks.
Yes. That's good. And I love also what you said about like focusing, you know, when you're listing for somebody else. I'm sure like if you're like me, if I make a mistake in my closet, I mean, that's like a given thing. I'm going to make mistakes, but you probably don't want to make mistakes on other people's things too. So I appreciate and respect that. While you're jumping off, don't forget to type in, I know you gave us your Gmail, which is well-read resale
wardrobe
at Gmail.
Sure. Yep. Thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, so put that in there so that we can hire you $1 a listing, that's a bog. And
I just saw that was the going rate, and I was like, okay, that sounds good to me.
yeah, and I love what you said about once you're in Australia, you will be able to list while we sleep. So imagine putting up a couple, things in the bank, and then you wake up and the little Kristen fairy has come in and given her writers
Your listing fairy sprinkling things on platforms. Although I guess I will need some time to figure out. Yeah, everything. I should just leave it at that. I will need some time to figure out everything, but I'll be available between now and then. Questions? Okay.
Good. Well, thank you for jumping on and joining us. And I know the baton was kind of passed my way when I opened my loud mouth and Glamma and Veronica's listing challenge. I said, oh, when's the next one? They said, well, when are you going to host it? So here we are. But if you have more that you need to do before your trip, and if you want to schedule another one, I have a lot more to do catching up from my trip away. Same with you, George. If you have a date, if we need to make this a regular occurrence, I'm game for it because I think this is so helpful. I got so much done when I was on with the girls, which was awesome. So thank you, Kristen. And hey, if after you're done, we'll probably stay on for like another, maybe half an hour or so.
I might just be in the chat then.
Yeah, or if you want to jump back on video or whatever, you do you, boo, and we'll be here for you.
Thank you. So glad to meet both of you, Becky. I'm so glad we met, and yeah, total game for holding myself accountable through this. So thank you for the invite.
Yay! Thanks for joining us. Yeah, good getting to know you better. And Kristen's, you can go. I'll chat.
Okay, I'm like, I think I hit the right button. I'm gonna hit it. Bye.
See ya. Kristen's YouTube channel is somewhere in the chat, so we can subscribe to her if you're not already. She's fun to watch. And Kristen,
leave.
No, it's okay. Hang out. You know what? It's funny. I was just about to say,
let me go.
You have to watch her video about. I'll kick you out. Hold on. Remove. There you go. I have power here. She has a really cool video about how to source and then flip at Plato's Closet. Like she actually goes to Goodwill, buys the stuff, snips the tags off like in her car, I guess, and then like gussies them up and then takes them right to Plato's. So it's like a really quick flip because she's moving to Australia. She can't have all this inventory. And it's kind of cool to think about that process of like just immediately, it's like playing the slot machine. Like it's immediate return on your, investment. It's kind of a cool model.
Plato's Closet, that's one that I know about, but we don't have it really over here. They've got physical stores, don't they, where you can go in and trade for it's like we have something called clothes for cash, which is done on weight. It's not done on brand.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's like you can do like a big bin liner full of clothing, and it's like, okay, that's 10 pence. Thank you. It's like, oh, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Essentially, yeah. But like this Plato's Closet is such a good idea. Like, I'm surprised it hasn't come over to like the UK.
Yeah, and there's several of them. There's Plato's Closet. There's Clothes Mentor. There's a whole different line of them out west. I think, like on the West Coast. Plato's Closet is more younger brands, in my opinion, and then Clothes Mentor is more like mature brands. I always feel like that's a good way to describe it. But yeah, and it's they go through everything, and they, like you said, this isn't on weight. It's by brand and by style, but some of them won't accept things that are past a year out of style. So like you really have to, you kind of have to know what you're doing. But that's what Kristen was saying too, that she had a top that she sourced at Goodwill and she brought to Plato's, and it had like some intentional distressing around the neck and the hem, but that was actually from the store that that's how that brand sold it. And so Plato's refused it, saying this is all cut up. And she's like, no, it's supposed to be that way. George, you get a nice compliment from Michael at Angry Otter. He says, oh, I'm gonna add some nuance. Oh, that Central England posh accent. But then he said, but you're probably from coastal Brighton. And he says he misses England.
No,
and it back in February. Where are you from, George?
I'm literally the opposite end of the country. I'm from the north, and I think it's like when specifically when I'm around my family, my accent comes out quite thick. But like when I'm like, I don't know, when I'm talking, I'm like, yes, hello. Like, I do kind of like recognize it, and it automatically kind of like. Hmm. But no, I'm from the north. Sorry, bit harsher accent. Think like Downton Abbey, like or
Oh,
Game of Thrones. Like they're all like some of the like north and south. Where I'm firmly in the north, like quite far up. So yes.
give us like in a synopsis, like if somebody didn't know anything about the nuance of English accents, how would you describe them? And like what is the history? Like if I was talking about the US, the Southern accent versus the Boston accent versus the West Coast, New York, like how would you just describe it?
Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, right. So like Boston has got a very distinctive kind of twang.
Right.
I would say the equivalent would probably be. I don't know. Liverpool's kind of got a very distinct. It's very harsh, very kind of like, like it's very kind of like, and Boston's kind of like that. So
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense because a lot of people that travelled way back when probably came from Liverpool, or the Irish people probably going to Liverpool to sail out of.
So it has more of like an Irish influence,
kind of. It's got like a harsh kind of like twang to it, like Boston's kind of like that. So I think equivalent is there. I think probably Minnesota accents. Minnesota, very kind of like nice.
Minnesota,
yeah. I think probably equivalent might be. I don't know. I want to say maybe Birmingham. People don't really know about the Birmingham accent unless you watch Peaky Blinders, and they're very much like this. You don't talk about like that, and they're very slow, but very soft and kind. You do get some people who are quite like like quite loud, but yeah, I quite like the Birmingham accent. But my favourite English accent is probably the far end, so like the Cornwall, the Cornish accent. They talk like that, and it's very like Farber. You think
okay.
Both. It's so very Farber like that. I've got a cold. I do apologise, and
it all sounds lovely to us over here.
But I think like the American, I get confused with certain Southern accents because we all like, oh hi y'all, like we all know like kind of like droll, like the Southern kind of, but there's certain like the Louisiana, like that kind of
drawl
at the end is very kind of like, oh, it's like quite whimsical almost. It's like, oh, and Alabama and like Kentucky, all that kind of like Southern belt. I get mixed up with some of the kind of like accents there, but you can kind of work out where they come from. Like particularly Texas, you can kind of.
Well, I think even most people from the US couldn't even discern. Like we just say Southern accent is like the South. And but you are right. Like people from Texas have a different sort of drawl versus Louisiana and even like Florida, because there's like a lot of Miami, like Latin influences. There's a whole different and I even think those parts don't even have a Southern accent. So it is kind of funny. You're absolutely right. And some people think that like the Boston, Philadelphia, New York, it's like the same, and it's not. But it is. You're right. Like a harsher kind of sound to it.
Even like New Jersey, because are you from New Jersey?
I have family who lives in New Jersey, but I'm actually from New York.
Oh yeah, because I remember you saying, I was like,
but I lost the accent.
Every now and then, though, it kind of slips it, because I think I've lost my northern accent. But every now and then, it kind of slips up. Particularly among family and friends, if I'm around there, we've got particularly in the northwest, we've got kind of quite a harsh accent. It's quite so when there's a group of us.
Do you have a name for it? Is there like a name for the accent? Like we would say like a Southern drawl. Is it?
I think that people from this is very similar. People from the South, London, they always say, "Oh, it's just North," and it's not. There's so many different kind of varieties. So, but ours is Mancunian, which is
Mancunian. Oh,
very kind of. It's a very harsh kind of like accent to kind of get everyone. And like when there's a few of us, it just sounds like alien. It's like it does. So I feel like I've lost that quite a lot. But I'm now living. I'm from there, and I grew up there, and now I live like more the Midlands, and they've got their own a whole kind of like. If you're from there, if you're not from there, you can tell But now that I've been
stands
living there
out.
for so long, I kind of like I understand a lot of the lingo and a lot of the twang and stuff, and it's like, and it's very cute. I find it very cute. It's quite patronising that, but I do find it very cute.
There was someone I was watching the other day on YouTube, and I actually literally cannot understand what they're saying, and it was just I don't know where in England they were from, but I think.
I was just going to say a good rule of thumb if you want to like know about English accent is probably watch the British Bake Off, because they have all sorts. They're from all over the country, and even like from like some Scotland. I mean, I know Scotland has like several different dialects, and it's like, but to us, it's just Scottish when it's not.
Right.
It's
Same.
so many different.
Well, that's how I feel about the English accent, and I can discern some of the different nuance, but I don't know if it's that there's just more slang words thrown in, or if it's that there's actually like a change in the accent. But it all sounds like the King's English to me. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's quite proper and lovely. But you guys probably listen to it like, oh, that person's from such and such, which is like the backwoods of England, if there is a backwoods of England. I don't even think.
I do kind of think I had a couple of American friends in college, and they were like, "Oh, you're so posh. You're so kind of." I'm
Great.
like,
it all sounds posh.
not really. we're very working class, but like no, not really.
We won't tell George. It sounds lovely to us.
So they said, "Oh, you could read audiobooks." I was like, "No."
Pinkies up all the way.
Yeah, it is kind of very much like that, isn't it? But yeah, it's funny. I think as well as like we're when it comes to like American culture, like obviously like we technically we speak the same language, but like Hollywood, it's been so like prevalent around the world. We consume a lot of American, so we know a lot more, like, you know, in terms of like dialects and stuff.
Right.
So like did you watch that Kate Winslet show, that Mayor from Easttown?
No, but she's actually, that was based in like I don't want to say a few towns over, maybe like a half an hour from where I live. And that is a very distinctive accent that's like in this Philadelphia region. Yeah,
I mean, because I'm like exposed to, since being little, to all this, like, you know, I don't want to say it's Americanism, but it's like just Hollywood essentially. Yeah. But like my mum, she's got very kind of traditional. So she was watching. It's like, what are they saying? It's like,
we feel the same way.
It's very kind of like similar. Yeah. So I do kind of understand like when Americans like look at us and they think, oh, wow, they must have tea and crumpets all the time, and it's like. No, we have McDonald's too.
My mom has started eating crumpets. The other day she lives in New Jersey, and I went to visit, and she's like, oh, you know, breakfast options. She starts rattling off what she has, and she's like, and I have crumpets and this and that. I'm like, what crumpets? What? First I was like, what is a crumpet? And then I was like, and why are you eating them? And then she had something else the other day that was like, it was something else that was like that, but I was like, I don't even know you anymore. Like, I grew up in this house, and now she's eating crumpets and whatever.
I do like a crumpet. I never used to, because the texture is like, it's not gooey. It's like soft in the middle, and then like you can have like a crispiness on the outside. That's nice when it's done right, but I never used to like it. I think the texture was a bit kind of like, ooh, it's
do
a
you
bit
cut
more
it in half, or do you just eat it?
No, we've got these. We just put it in the toaster essentially, like, because they come pre-packed. You can make them by yourself, and then you can fry them, but you can buy them pre-packed, and you just put them in the toaster, and it's like bread, but like squishy.
Because it looked like have you ever heard of an English muffin, or is that like an actual American thing that we say is English?
I know. I mean, English. We do have like, it's basically just like a little like bap. It's like a brioche bun, but not.
Okay,
you know,
that's what a crumpet looked like to me. And an English muffin, you would cut it open, and like they talk about the nooks and crannies. Like, you want to toast up the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Do crumpets have nooks and crannies?
They're a bit drier though. Crumpets are a bit more kind of like squishy and gooey. Yeah. Which are nice. They're a distinct taste, and you've got to have real butter with them. You can't have like margarine or, you know, anything like.
So where do you put the butter? Right on top of the crust?
Yeah, essentially, it's kind of like, I don't know if I've got any. Oh, I would have loved it.
We need crumpets, George. Crumpets.
Next time I'll bring on crumpets.
Yeah.
I go to this one shop, and they do like, if it's seasonal, they do like shapes. So at Christmas they had Christmas tree crumpets.
Oh, cute! Yeah.
And they did like a Halloween one last year, so I'm hoping they might have Halloween ones.
Okay, on your next channel, on your next live, we expect crumpets, but no fish cakes, because I understand that you're not.
I hate fish cakes. And the thing is, like, you know, like, do you guys have fish fingers? Like, they're not fingers, obviously, but like fish finger, like sticks.
Yeah, fish sticks. Yeah.
Essentially. And they're massive. They are big business over there. They're big. I hate them. I can't. I've never liked them as a child. I like fish,
Well,
and I like breaded fish, but that I just no.
Well, when you go for fish and chips, you're getting like that, but like fresh prepared, right? So like the Gordon's Fisherman or whatever, like the stuff in the freezer aisle is not fish and chips, right? It's not traditional. Yeah,
it's a traditional fish. They do everything on site, so they've got like the white piece of fish, and they batter it actually in the fish and chip shop, so you can see it actually being done, and then they put it in the fryer, and so it's actually like certified fresh.
Yeah, and
because they buy their fish fresh, they have to do it. I think it's like every day they bring it in, so it is fresh. And the chips, I found I recently went to Belgium, and I'm sorry, just dropping that in.
I just recently went to Belgium. Watch his videos to see his.
Well, I think they're coming out next week. But the chips over here in the UK, we're very proud of them.
Chips as in French fries.
They're very different from French fries. Like, they're not as thin; they're quite thick, and they're like homemade, and they're cooked in certain batters. So we're quite proud of our fish and chips. I went to Belgium, and they do their chips so differently, and they are delicious. I don't think I've tasted anything quite like them, and I like chips.
Yeah, what makes them better? I need to know.
I don't know. I think it might be the batter that they use in them, but yeah, the ones over here they can be quite greasy. The chips over here, and it's a bit kind of French fries are a bit more drier and they're a bit more salty, but yeah, this is like half and half. It's like a halfway between them both. So you get them thick, but then they're quite dry, and the batter that they use is quite nice. But yeah, I tried them and I was like, oh my god, we don't know nothing.
Yeah,
we know
how
nothing.
funny that it's like just the batter. Hang on, can you just tell what is in your hand right now?
Oh,
is it a leg? What the heck? Oh, it's a hand. George, what are you?
Yeah. It's basically my mannequin. Don't worry. I'm halfway through.
Oh dear. This whole time you're telling this story, I'm like, I'm loving this about these French fries, but why does George have a leg in his hand?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. We need to catch up in the chat because you and I will just be so chatty together. Glamma said that you gave her kazoo envy. Oh, I don't know if Kristen is still here, but she jumped up. Who was saying that you had plushies, that you got them addicted to plushies?
Yeah, she says she's learned so much from plushies. I think plushies are life.
Oh,
yeah. They're so plentiful as well, and they're so easy to like list and to send. You're not going to break them in the post.
Yeah.
Unless it gets caught in the machine, and then obviously it's a massacre.
Right.
Yeah, they're so easy, and more than likely they're not going to return it unless it's absolutely filthy. Which, to be honest, I put everything in a machine, and then.
So do you wash all plush? Because I have started selling plush because one of my consigners gave me a whole bunch of them. And some of them I wash and some of them I use a fabric spray sanitizer. And some of them I just say, like, I have a couple vintage ones that I'm like, cleaning left to buyer because it's so delicate.
Yeah.
A lot of them you can throw in the wash machine, right?
Yeah. I mean, this isn't dirty. This one. So this one isn't dirty, but I haven't washed it. I've just checked. It's like, it's pretty.
It's cute. It's Rainbow Dash. Is that Rainbow Dash?
No, it's called a Toki Doki. I think it's a Japanese brand. I don't think it's worth much.
Oh, Toki Doki.
Yeah, and I've got a couple of them here, so I'm bundling them all up. But yeah, they're clean. They're really clean, so I won't be washing them.
Right.
I'll probably, like you say, I've got some Febreze, so I'll just lightly spritz.
Right. Put the steamer on it or something.
Yeah, essentially.
I love that Jackie is saying that she learned so much from you, because that's totally what it's all about. And you're doing your thing, and she's
like, the reason why I learned so much from other resellers. So it's kind of like hand-me-down knowledge, and it's like everybody learns from everybody.
Yeah. Great. But it's like sharing, like, in some places, I used to work in sales and it was like competitive. And yes, we're all selling and we're all technically, everyone's customers could be competition. But I feel like the reselling community, there's just so much opportunity that there's no reason to feel competitive,
Exactly.
Yeah. Michael said that the only place he knows in North England is Wolverhampton. Wolverhampton and
Yeah.
Castlecroft. Do you know those places?
Hold on.
Castlecroft. That sounds like Game of Thrones territory right there.
Where's that? I can't see.
Oh, Jackie's from Liverpool. That was one of the accents we were talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah. So Lake District is the proper accent. All right. Okay. That's a bit north from me. That's Cumbria. I'm in Mancunian. Wolverhampton and Castlecroft. Yeah, Wolverhampton is like Midlands. It's more close to Birmingham. So it's a very funny accent. It's like Wolverhampton talks like that, and they've got to be, yeah. But it's a bit quicker. But I've slowed it down.
Two more.
Wolverhampton, they talk like this. You say.
I am totally loving George doing accents.
I do like a good accent.
You do it so well, though. You just like slipped right into that.
Legit, just bought a kazoo off Amazon.
I love that. It's addictive now.
Yes, you can have it for sale. Yeah, it's not copyright. you can have it. It's not copyright.
Pika is here. Pika, I don't know you. Hi. Thanks for coming on. I want to know everybody's names so that I can remember people. Oh, hold on. Kristen has a sale. Woohoo! Okay. Get out your thing. Go. Woo! I hope it was a good one for you, Kristen. She said it was a sale on Mercari. Mercari's been driving me crazy lately.
We don't have Mercari. We had it for like 5 minutes and it disappeared.
Yeah, you had said that. I think,
Weird.
Were they just trying to work out some kinks?
I think they wanted it to be the next big thing, and they spent like 6 months, like, trying to promote it, and nobody turned up to the party.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So, and then other places like Depop and Vinted came along and they just said, well, we don't want to bother then. I think they might probably, depending on how Poshmark does, I think it might come back because is it Japanese, the company?
Is Mercari?
I think so, isn't it? Is it Japanese American?
It might be.
It just sounds quite Japanesey, Mercari.
Yeah.
Am I thinking Mercado?
I don't remember, but I know that Depop is English, but didn't they buy Etsy? And do you guys have Etsy over there too?
Yeah. There's been a bit of an issue with Etsy at the moment, withholding money.
Oh, why?
Particularly in the UK, there's they've got this thing at the moment. Nobody knows why, but they've got this new kind of, like, they hold it for like so many days. They hold 75% of your sale.
Is it because of that bank thing that you guys were telling me about? How the banks have that? Yeah. Okay.
Well, they changed it, but they didn't tell anyone. So people who were making like, say, 1,000 to 2,000, 3,000, however, they were holding. They didn't tell them. They didn't. So all of a sudden, these people are like, hang on, we've made a sale of like, say, £2,000, and they've got like, they only got like a check. Well, not a check through, but their invoice was like £50, and like.
And this is their livelihood that they're expecting this revenue. Oh gosh, that's terrible.
And they didn't tell anyone. And then there was a big backlash, and then there was a big exodus. So lots of people left the platform, and they went to places. There's a small website called Folksy, which is the same thing. Folksy. Yeah. Folksy. And they said they upticked 256% in new memberships in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're becoming the big thing now. But I think Etsy kind of came out with a statement saying they've reverted back. But they said they've taken off that kind of withholding of money thing. But they didn't say by how much. Apparently they withhold, because Amazon, I think at the beginning they hold like 5 or 10% of your money.
Amazon?
To make sure that you're not, what's the word, like a scammer or something like that.
So this is all recent? Like this has been happening just recently?
Yeah, the past like 2 or 3 weeks. It's like, but it's like a developing situation. So, have
you had Etsy, for a while, or is Etsy new?
No, Etsy's been around for years.
Okay, so this is just a new improvement that's ruining things. Oh, that's terrible. Jeez,
it's strange, isn't it? But like, when you think, it's like, why would you do that to your sellers? They're the people that bring in your money.
Especially like you said, they didn't tell anybody, and it's not like, oh, this is how we do things. They just all of a sudden started changing the policy. Like that's not.
Yeah, it was literally overnight as well, and loads of people. There's one person that didn't get their money for like 40 days. I think they said that they contacted Etsy and they said, oh, we're holding it for 40 days to make sure that you're not a scammer. Essentially, not directly like that.
But that's right.
They said that's our new policy. and they were like, well, I rely on that money to make things to resell, and it's like,
livelihood.
yeah, and it's like, oh, but they didn't. They had to shut up shop. They shut their Etsy shop and moved on. So it's just that it's the same. I worry because like you say, it's their income, and it's the same with like if anything happened on eBay, it kind of like we have a lot of eggs in one basket. So it's so that's why I kind of like try and cross list as much as possible.
Diversify.
Yeah.
Well, some people talk about they leave their funds in like the accounts until a rainy day or whatever. I'm like, nope. I'm taking my money out, and like, I also try to keep track of it because, we think that these systems are infallible. That like, oh well, it's Poshmark or it's eBay. They don't make mistakes, but like accounting errors happen. So maybe I'm just anal, but I like cross-reference my sales.
I completely agree. Vinted over here is another one. They don't like resellers on their platform. People resell on their platform, but what they do is they can stop your store, and you can't get your money out. So you've got a wallet. So whatever kind of you sell, the money goes into the wallet, and you can withdraw. And to be fair, it's pretty immediate. You can click out, say like $50 or £50, and you can take that money out, and it's usually within your bank account within a day. It's quite good. However, there's some people who have been kicked off the platform for being a reseller, and the money is still in their wallet.
Ooh.
So I know someone who has like £400 in their wallet, and they can't get it.
Yeah, but isn't that illegal then? Like that's got to be some kind of legal thing. They can't just not.
Well, they say it's they've got it for. They say they've got it in there for, I think it's like 6 months, and then they release it. So there's a certain time period. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crushing. Yeah, I appreciate what you're saying about like they just discourage reselling, or if that's like one of their policies or terms or something. But I don't know.
I think they're coming up with a new one because it's French, and I think in France they've got a Vinted Pro. It's the same platform, but they have like for resellers, there's like a special app that you can list things in. So I think things are different, and I think that'll be the rollout moving forward because there's no fees on Vinted, and I think the Vinted Pro, they're going to start introducing fees. I don't know. This is all hearsay. This is all information I've gleaned.
Come on, George. You have all the expert intel. So does anybody in the chat know or use Vinted? Because I don't think it's as big in the US. I don't even know if we can. I looked into it to see like if I wanted to start listing over there because there's no insertion fees and there's no selling fees like at all, which is incredible. But I don't know a single US seller who's been doing that. So please. Oh, Glamma says Mercari is headquartered in Tokyo. Yep. So there you go. Oh, according to Google, she used the internet to answer our question. Oh, I love it. Glamma said she wants to make sure it's okay to borrow. She would hate to use someone's idea and not give credit. So she's giving credit to you, George.
It's fine.
That's so nice. George, you're going to hold on for a second because someone's here to see you.
Is it Peanut?
Oh, my goodness.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, George.
Oh, you're so cute.
Peanut's back.
Hi, Peanut.
Say hi.
Oh.
It's Big Boy.
He's Big Boy. Oh, he's so cute.
Hi.
Is he like a sleepy cat as well? Is he just like sits around and like watches the world go by, or is he quite active?
No, he's very sleepy. Every once in a while, he'll like do cat-like things and like chase something. I'm like, yay, Peanut, you're being a cat. But yeah, we went away on vacation and we left the cat home alone with our neighbor to check in on him. But we have like a little video camera set up so that we can watch him and see what he's doing. And I'm like, where is it? Like, what is he doing? Where is he? And he just didn't do anything the whole time. And every time I saw him, he was like sleeping on the stairs. And I'm like, Peanut, come on. Like, really? We leave you the whole house to go play, frolic, whatever. He was sleeping the whole time. So the life of a cat. What are you going to do?
I know. Secret life of cats. I do like cats. I couldn't own one though. Mainly, I don't know why. Other people's cats I love. I love other people's cats, and it's like cats seem to like me, but I'm a bit kind of like standoffish with them. I'm a bit kind of like, okay, thank you. Kind of, I think that's why they like it. They're a bit like, oh,
Yeah, this guy doesn't like cats. Let's go hang out with him.
but I do like them. I think they're adorable. But I couldn't have it like dogs. I don't know. Dogs are a bit more needy, and I think I like to be needed.
Aw.
It fills that hole.
I think dogs have like a little bit more, like they show their personality more, whereas cats, it's kind of like veiled. Like you don't really like always know what's going on in the cat's mind, or maybe it's just different personalities for different ones. But he's just happily sitting, hanging out. I guess he just wanted to come and be near the action. But he is a big cat, and he's on a program, and clearly the program is not working. Glamma, we would call him Fluffy, I guess. He's a big boy, and I need to take him for his well visit at the vet, and I'm too afraid to go because I keep getting like body shaming from the vet, and I just don't want to deal with it. He's been on a restrictive diet, and we've tried different foods and stuff, but he seems very healthy. He has like a very shiny coat, and I think he's happy aside from all the lounging about. I don't know. Oh, George, what are you working on? You have clothing over there?
Yeah, I'm just doing some the last bit of clothing here. I've got a shirt that was bought to my brother, and he doesn't want it.
Oh.
He says it's not really his style, and I was like, oh right, okay. It's just a plain blue one. It's quite nice. It's a bit, yeah, it's a bit boring, but it's all right.
The basics, right?
Yeah, it's like a basics kind of thing. But yeah, I'm just gonna because it's still got the tags on, so
there you go. One person's trash is another man's treasure.
Exactly. I mean, it was going to go to the charity shop anyway, but I said I'll try and sell it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a bit of consignment for my brother.
Yay! See, I knew I'd rub off on you eventually.
It is interesting. I do think there is a market here for it.
Well, when you guys were talking about how there's no, well, so you do the car boots and garage sales and stuff, and the charity shops sound like they're just straight donation, but there's so few consignment shops. I just feel like there's an opportunity there, but I can see where if you had a problematic consigner, it would ruin the experience and it would take the fun out of it, I would think.
Yeah, I think, like you say, managing expectations to people who use consignment sellers is probably the big thing.
Yeah.
You've got to say, like, okay, now there's a period where we can sell it. You know, there's a contract, you know, you've got got to sit them down and say, this is this, this is this.
Right. Yeah. I thankfully have a lot of storage in my house. Like I haven't upgraded like you to a garage or an external storage area. Yeah. But because I have a good amount of storage, and I guess if I had a storage unit, I'd be able to do the same thing. I don't have to worry about like keeping things for a while. So my philosophy is like, if I've gone through the measures of listing it, taking the photographs and doing all the work, I'm just going to let that ride and let it hang out and maybe relist if I'm doing like a bunch of relisting or something, but I'm not going to stress about it. But then I let my consigners know if they need something back in a certain time frame, or if they want something back, if it doesn't sell, you know, they need to let me know. But then like someone will have given me something, 9 months ago, and they're getting paid on it today. And they're like, oh, happy news. I just got a deposit. Becky just transferred money into my account, and they're happy about it. So it is working so far. So is your brother, he's expecting the profit from that, or do you just give it to you and say, this is destined for? Yeah,
he just said, yeah, you can sell this if you want. I was like, okay.
That's not consignment. That's a donation.
It is a donation. I'll throw him some money back for it.
There you go. That's a good brother. Is he older or younger?
He's younger.
Okay. What is his story? Does he consign also? I mean, does he resell?
No, he doesn't. He doesn't really stream either, but he should do. He plays a lot of like video games, and I'm saying like, why don't you just you're literally playing video games, just stream and then set up a donation spot like a tip jar. Earn a little bit of money. It's like when you say like you're getting not annoyed, but you're kind of like, oh, there's an opportunity to make a little bit of money there.
Yeah. Can I tell you the weirdest thing? So the other day I was going live, and sometimes before I go live, I will check and see if anybody else is live, because I'll just as easily hop on with one of you guys and, watch and do my work and stuff. And so I was looking, and there was someone live who had the camera trained on them, and they were sleeping. And I was like, what am I watching right now? And so of course I had to click on it just to be voyeuristic and be like, what the heck is this? And it was literally this guy in his boxer shorts without sheets on, just sleeping and like flopping about in his bed. And then I was like, well, what's in the chat? Like, I was like, what's the point? What are we doing here? And all the people were like, they were like cheering him on, like, yeah, you go, you sleep, you know, you're gonna have such a great night.
I've seen it on like Twitch where people do like 24-hour streams or 40, or like they do like a full week of streaming like non-stop, but then they've got like a bed and they go to bed and they leave the camera on. It's like, no.
Yeah.
I find it weird.
This guy's thing, I think that was he had some kind of story that he was like from Russia or something, and he was like, I'm disabled and I'm trying to get some extra money, so I'm doing this. But and that's fine, like you're saying, like if if your brother's playing video games, film it, whatever. But I'm like, how are we gonna make money doing this? Are people watching this? I don't know.
Apparently people are really generous as well. It's like they're happy to like give like $5 to be like, yeah, go for it, go have a nice sleep. It's like, yeah, I will, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's all the feet videos and all sorts of other stuff, so I'm never gonna go there. Glamma says, I need more YouTube watch hours. Maybe I should train a camera on my dogs or my husband when they're sleeping. Yeah, that would be funny. Glamma, your husband he's a little cutie. He popped in on that live that one time. He should have a camera on him, right? You can tell him I said that. That's funny. Oh my goodness. George, how did you get into reselling?
Well, I've always kind of like resold stuff. I've always like had an eBay account, and like, I think my eBay account's from like 2003. That's when it was like open. So that's my personal one. So it's like 2003. So I've always kind of like had one there because I bought like stuff from there and stuff like that. And then I've every now and then, put something on. And then yeah, it was a time, it was needs must. I needed to make a lot of money fast because I had quite a lot of debt. Okay. And yeah, my life kind of like imploded a bit, and it's no secret I put it up on Instagram. But yeah, eBay really did. I basically I went on YouTube to say like, oh, how can I do this, properly? And it was like tips and tricks. So I was like, okay, I'll watch. And then slowly I started listing things online. Then I started finding lots of resellers who were putting up content on YouTube. And this was like in 2015, 16.
Okay.
Kind of like
before everyone and their brother was doing it.
Pretty much, yeah. So there was only like a couple, particularly in the UK, but there was only a couple like, pretty much documenting it. So I was like, okay, I can do this. Anyway, and then slowly, the more I started to list and sell, the more money was coming in. I was paying my bills, and then with the extra, I was going out sourcing. So it was kind of like, I must say, it took about 2 years to completely kind of like get back on my feet.
I love that.
Yeah, I've still got a credit card, but I've paid off pretty much everything now. So
that's awesome! Wow.
So I still got a credit card, but I need it for credit,
right?
Because it's open. It's been open since like 2009 or 2008. So I thought, I'll keep that on. It's the longest one. You get like credit points for the length of time. So I thought I'll just keep it on.
It's good. Yeah.
I mean, I used it when I was abroad as well because the charge rate was cheaper. If you know what I mean. So I was using that in shops when I was abroad. So, but no, yeah, I've still got that, and there's the household kind of like, because I'm the amount of money that I'm bringing in is more money than what I was earning 9 to 5.
That's crazy! Oh my gosh!
In a government job,
you are like a proper success story with like coming back from no, but seriously, like
I still live at home.
Stop! But I mean, coming back from debt and like changing your whole life over, and then like replacing your other income and now surpassing it's incredible. That's huge.
I mean, I think I worked out it's something like 30. It's like a third. It's like 30% more net than what I was earning, and it's like,
and the flexibility and the quality of life and all that.
yeah, the quality of life, my mental health took a massive hit. And
Yeah.
like I've managed to get myself back on track on that front. But also like I'm helping my family out now. That's like my big kind of
Oh,
mission. So
yeah.
that's why I moved back in essentially, so we could all help each other out.
Yeah.
And well, I needed to at first,
Mm.
but like now it's like, okay, I could go and live somewhere else, but then
Why?
it's a whole different set of bills.
Right.
My mum and dad are like paying their bills as well. It's like, why don't we just all do it together and help each other out that way? So that's kind of like it's a needs must kind of situation, but at the same time, I'm doing a lot better than what I've ever done.
And
it's
your
weird.
parents, they seem properly lovely. Like if I had parents who lived close by and they were so lovely like that, I'd be like, yeah, let's totally do this together. Like it just seems like
Well,
it would be easy.
We kind of like it's a strange one because people like say, oh, I don't want to move back in with my parents, and you think, well, actually, can you considering the cost of living crisis that we're in, if you're like single, it's kind of communal living or living with a group of friends or family, like, you know, it's kind of a needs must situation, and like we all kind of divvy stuff up. So like my parents pay for the rent, my brother pays for the food, and I pay for like the petrol and like the internet, and you know, like the phones and everything and television, all that. So we all got our own little thing that we need to pay for, but it kind of relieves the pressure off a bit.
Yeah. There you go. I feel like people do that with, you know, you live with your cousin or you live with a roommate or whatever else, and you don't get along with them the same way that you get along with family. And I think it's fantastic. And I love your parents. I think they need to be like a regular like fixture in the lives with you, like be on the channel with you so we can get to know them better, because
well, my mum is retiring in a couple of years, so I'll try and get her to do some sort of live situation.
So do they thrift and resell as well, or do they just support your business?
No, they don't, but they've seen like there was a situation where certain family members, extended family members, they were like, you resell, you and they thought basically I dumpster dived. That's what they thought I was doing, essentially, like, oh, you sell rubbish. Trash. They said you sell trash. Like it was that kind of kind of mentality, and I was like, no, I do this. And then when they saw how much I was earning, I was like, they were like, oh. And that was a few years ago. Now I think it's become more mainstream, and everybody kind of like knows. Like particularly during COVID, I think a lot of people know, like, to make a bit of extra money. Lots of people were like going on eBay and selling stuff on eBay just to add a bit of extra cash.
Yeah.
So I think that mentality now has like changed completely, and everybody kind of like understands. I did get a couple of people, like a couple of cousins, say like, "Oh, do you want this?" To like resell like stuff. So now I don't. They just sell it themselves. I'm like, oh.
Right. Dang it. Yeah. Well, I also feel like people are more willing to shop secondhand too, and I feel like that whole stigma of like used things, like buying something used, is so not what it used to be, that it's kind of come full circle. But you're right, a lot of people who have shown and proven that this side hustle can turn into like a full-time hustle, it's totally broken down those barriers of like, oh, you're selling other people's unwanted junk, and I'm like, heck yeah, I am, and I'm loving doing it, and it's, you know, being more sustainable on the earth, and it's, you know, repurposing things, and it just, everything about it feels so good to me that I can't imagine not, but I can appreciate how some people are like, I don't get it. I don't understand why you're taking something that was discarded and then reselling it for money, you know.
But they're happy to buy that same thing on eBay.
Right.
So, like they can understand buying it.
Yeah.
You can understand going out and purchasing it for cheap and then selling it on. It's that kind of disconnect. But like I said, I think that's kind of like changed now. But like you said, like in charity shops, there was a massive stigma in the 90s and some early 90s of like shopping at charity shops. I remember being at high school, and kids are cruel anyway. Kids are mean anyway. So they say nasty things. But like, I remember this one guy, and he lived next door to my grandparents at the time. And it was kind of like, it was a big family. It was a known family. That's what they used to call it, a known family. So it was kind of like troubled family. That's what, you know. Okay. And
like known as in they were like high profile, or known as in like they
notorious.
Were
they were
right,
notorious.
Yeah.
It was a bit like, you know, like Shameless. Like, like everybody knows what they're like, kind of thing.
Do they have a Frank?
kind of really badly. and the mum was more like the Frank, if you know what I mean. Anyway,
Oh gosh.
but
yeah.
they always used to shop at charity shops, and everybody used to have a go at this guy, and I was like, that's so mean. It's just, you know, it's not his fault.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, and I whenever there was some charity shops in the town that we used to live in, where the school was, and everybody used to see him coming out of charity shops,
Yeah.
and there was a discount store in that same town, and it was a big brand called Netto, and it used to be a sign of poverty to go and shop at Netto. And I used to shop at Netto. We used to shop at Netto, but now the new discount store, the cheapest one is called Aldi, and everybody shops at Aldi. Like the whole, like the UK is like, the stigma's completely gone now.
Right. And like, I got a great deal at Aldi, you know. Right, yeah.
It's like a badge of honor. Like, oh, I got this. I got this at
Look what a
charity
deal I got. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Right.
it's weird. It's the
Yeah.
whole mentality's changed, and it's like, it's really
which
good.
is good for us. Right.
Yeah, but it's good as like, just in terms of like mental health. I doubt any kids are being like picked on now for shopping at a charity shop. If anything, I think the cool kids say, "Oh, do you want to go charity shopping?"
Yeah. Or thrifting, or
Oh, go thrifting. Yeah, let's go thrifting at the weekend. It's like, oh, it's true. Why go to Foot Locker when you can go to the charity shop?
right, and get it at a good price. I look
Exactly.
at people who pay full price for things, and I'm like, why would you throw your money away that way? Like, why? You know, you could get that used. Like, I mean, there's certain things that you definitely want to buy new, but when I look at people who have to have the name brand whatever, and they're paying full price for it and everything, I'm like, it's just, it seems wasteful to me somehow. And like, so that's the opposite, where I look at somebody, I'm like, that's a bad buy with your money to have that design or whatever.
But also, it's like, if you want to buy something like named, why don't you just wait until the sales?
Yeah, and get a good deal. Well, because usually they have to have the latest and greatest, and like Lama was saying before, keeping up with the Joneses and all that stuff.
Yeah,
That's like
true.
it's a social thing. I don't know how it is in the UK, but I feel like in the US, like as a consumeristic society, that's something that's just like a mentality that is hopefully shifting with, like you said, the trendiness of secondhand and thrift
Yeah,
store.
I think it is. We do kind of have that kind of thing. It's we call it like Middle England kind of syndrome, and where we used to live, it was we were a working class family in a middle class area, and the middle class area, the mums none of the mums worked. None of them.
La-di-da. Okay.
They were homemakers. That was their job.
Yeah.
And it's fine and everything, but they were all very similar. Let's just put it out. They all were very carbon cutouts of each other.
Yeah.
All had the same kind of like dyed hair and everything. The husband used to go off to work, and it was that kind of like 50s kind of.
Have you heard of Stepford Wives? Do you know what that reference?
Yeah, almost very Stepford Wife-ish.
Right.
Like there was a golf club, and there was like they had like what's the word? It's like the club.
The country club.
Country club, yeah, it's like a country club, and they all used to go there for brunch. It's very kind of, it's still that kind of mentality, and that was not too long ago. It's about like 15 years ago, so yeah, it's not changed, I doubt, very much in that area. But yeah, it's just the way it is. I think the majority of the people, though, the working class people, are just like, let's just get on with it. We'll enjoy our spare time when we have some.
Right. Well, those are the people who, like, when I go to thrift stores, I'm like, I can't believe someone donated this to the Goodwill. Like, I'm like, it's a head scratcher, because I'm like, don't they realize that they could sell it again and get a really good return? And then part of me is just like, well, that must be nice to live in with such like a disposable mentality of like not trying to recoup some money. And I don't, maybe I'm just really cheap. I don't know. I can't quite rationalize in my head what it's like to just take something that has value and just be like, yeah, I'm just going to discard this and not try to repurpose it, rehome it. I mean, I guess maybe they are rehoming it by donating it to Goodwill, but
yeah, I think a lot of people do that. And a lot of people, they don't, if they're working as well, they don't really have the time to do it.
Yeah,
it's kind of time consuming. Like, if you don't have like a system in place to kind of quickly pitch a list, kind of research, it can be kind of quite time consuming. So I do understand like why people say, oh, just donate it. Yeah. It's just on my way to work. I can throw everything in a box, give it to them. I do get that, and I welcome it because I'm there to pick it up.
Right, and they're not throwing it out, so I shouldn't be so so judgmental. But I will say, to that end, knowing that in England, if it's just the what do you guys call it, the charity shop, like
Yeah.
and there's not really consignment stores. I think you need to start telling all your friends and family that they should consign with you and test it out and then report back and let me know.
I'm not like organized enough for consignment.
Yeah,
I'm more, I mean, if you can see I'm a little bit more organized now, but like I'm not. Usually, I'm just all over the place when it comes. Like you can kind of see my desk; it's like full of like rubbish.
Every consigner has that. Like it's usually stuff that's and not every consigner, every reseller. It's usually stuff that's like, this is complicated. I'm gonna put it here for now so that I can research it later.
I'll do that later.
Yes,
if I had a pound or $1 for every time I said that, I'll be a millionaire.
Of course, yeah.
I'll do it later.
It looked good in the thrift shop, but now it's like not exciting or it's cumbersome or whatever.
That's what this shirt is. This was a House of Cavani shirt that I got, and I only paid like £1 for it, but at the same time, it's like, oh.
Listen, do it now. Do it now.
Well, that's what I'm doing. I'm doing this.
Good.
But it's been sat there for like 4 months.
That's what these listings, live listings are all about. Glamma did one earlier too, where she was feeling the same way. Which, by the way, I think I saw. Oh, hold on, let me scroll up. Glamma, I think she signed off. She has to go to the grocery store. Oh my gosh, they're out of milk. Isn't there some kind of like TikTok reference about like dad went out for some milk or something? I don't know. Glamma, yeah, there's some kind of reference. Somebody clue me in. I try to be cool, but I don't really know what I'm talking about. Bye, Glamma. She's so sweet. So she jumped in. You saw her for just a couple minutes, but I'm so glad that we got to know her a little bit better. And I'm so glad that she and Veronica passed the baton so that here I am chatting up with you guys. George, what time is it by you? Is it coming on 1 o'clock?
Oh yeah, it's hit 1 o'clock. It's 10 to 2 in the morning.
You're a beast. You crazy animal. I feel like I'm starting to wind down myself now too. I have been. Let me give an update on my stats. Let's see. How am I doing? I got 3 drafts done, and I have listed 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Yay! And I've cross-listed 2 as well. So, and I'm chatting. So there's that.
Yeah, I think all these pictures are, but this is like a job that I'll go to bed, obviously, but like, this is like a job that I've done now. And it's like for tomorrow, I'll wake up and it's like, oh, I've got some things I can actually list.
Yes, and you'll be ready to go, and then you'll be starting off your tomorrow on the right foot.
Yeah, Friday. This week has gone so quickly.
Me too, but I feel like it's because I'm back from vacation and I've been catching up like a crazy woman, trying to keep on top of it. It's funny. You said Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday.
Is it? I meant Thursday.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I lost a day. Crap, Thursday.
That's what I meant. Thursday.
Don't rush me. I need my days, George. That's why the week is going so fast, because you lost the whole day. Michael said, did you see the ancient Roman bust found at their local Goodwill? Oh my gosh. It's now donated to a museum. Oh my goodness. No. That's a score. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I don't understand his reference. George, you can do it. Come on. You know you want to. Say it. Say it.
Quid. A quid is a pound. It's like a buck.
It's a slang word for it. Okay. Do you call it a quid, or do only certain people say that?
No, everybody really. It's like it's just a slang. It's like when you're in a shop and you say 20 quid.
Isn't there another one? There's another. Say it again.
There was an very old London slang called softs, and that used to go with because everything was paper, so that was your soft.
Oh, I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, it's very old slang. That it's like Victorian-ish.
I feel like there was another one that's like another word for like a buck. Maybe it was quid. A fiver? No.
Oh yeah. So we say like fiver. That's like the £5 note. Because we've got
Okay.
£5 note, £10 note, £20 note, £50 note. Usually the popular ones are 5, 10, 20. So you say that's like a £5 or a £10. You don't say 20. You just say 20 quid. Or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a £5 or a £10.
A tenner, right? Okay. And I was like, England has so much currency. There's so many different bills. There's quids, there's pounds, there's pence, and I'm like, oh wait, some of these are the same thing.
Yeah, they are the same. I don't know. I think we must get bored of certain things. Like, so let's just call it a tenner.
Well, like you said, it's $1. I mean, that's like RSC for, and someone might say like, oh, it's a this is probably like dated, but like, oh, it's a Benjamin, like whichever president is on the,
yeah.
I don't think we say that about really anything else, though. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you say like quarters, which are 25 cents, and we don't have them over. We don't have 25. We have a 20 and a 5, but we don't. Obviously, like quarters isn't it? That is just say $quarter on the thing, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So it's
we have pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters as the main ones, and that's cent, 5 cent, 10 cent, quarter, 25 cent. And then you can have like a dollar coin, which you never see those. They come out of like the token when you take the subway or something. Like that'll be like the change that comes out sometimes. But like if I went to a store and was like, here's my dollar, they would probably not know where to put it, or they'd like, you'd have some dumb teller be like, I've never seen this before. Like, what is this? And then we have like $half, which are kind of like a novelty. Like if you wanted to, like for a kid's birthday, maybe you'd go to the bank and be like, can I have a $half? And they'd give it to you. Or like a $2 bill. You could do that for like my daughters would get them for birthdays as like a novelty, like your bill. But
strange, isn't it? Because we used to have £1 notes before we changed our currency in like the 50s and the 70s. We used to have like £1 notes, which were paper, very similar to Americans. But then we have like £1 coins, and that's kind of like our traditional. We have £1 coins, and now we have we've had £2 coins for about 20 odd years now, so they're a bit bigger. But
what's the tiny one that's like when you see someone paying, it's like this like dinky little.
The tiny one, the tiniest one that we've got is 5 pence. That's like silver, but it's smaller than the 1 penny.
Okay,
it's weird.
On some of those car boot videos, I've seen people pay with like this little dinky toy coin where they're like, I feel like they can barely even hold it. I'm like, well, what the heck is that? Like, what?
I know, it's ridiculous. And our 20p is like really weird. It's like a hexagon shaped, and our 50 pence is like a weird kind of shape. But yeah, it is weird. And of course, because obviously the Queen passed away, we're in the middle of changing over everything onto the King Charles's face. Because
I was wondering if that was going to happen. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I started coming through now. Like I've started seeing. I've got a couple. Oh no, I don't have one here. I think it's in my other room. I found a £2 coin with his face on it, and it was from 2023. So it's this year. It was minted.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're just starting to come in. It'll be like a phase thing, obviously,
right.
But it's going to take years because, there's that much in circulation now. But
well, I'm sure that they're not doing it just to do it. Like they're just going to do it for stuff that needed to be replaced anyway, right?
Yeah, I don't think they're making a big deal of it.
Right. Okay.
This time, and they're just going to face it because obviously, like, I'm not. He's quite old. He's like 70 odd. So.
Hold on, that's the reason why they're like, well, hold on, we don't want to do too much here because you're 1 foot out the door.
Anyway, I didn't want to say anything, but it's just he is getting on, and William, he's in his 40s now, so he might be a long reigning king. You don't know, never know. So I think they're kind of like waiting tentatively, being very polite about it in a very British way. It's like we won't say anything. We'll just do a phased out.
We're going to do a slow rollout on this because we don't know how much more time he has left. Oh dear. Oh, speaking of how much time we have left, Michael jumped off. He said, he's going to jump on Regina Live. Do I know that one? Oh, he's the guest. Oh, how fun is that? Nice to meet you, Georgie. Oh, you even have a nickname, Georgie. And fun show, Becky. Yeah, I'm so happy to have him as a new YouTube friend as well. So I know we still have Kristen here, I think. And is it Jackie, right? From I Dream of Clothing? Yep, Jackie. and I'm not sure who else is on still, but I am needing to wrap myself up, and I'm not going to start a new listing with the thought of turning in for the night. So
Yeah, I'm pretty much done as well. I've got all my bits done, but thank you, because I'm all done for tomorrow. That was a tomorrow job, and now it's all done.
see, and you have some new subscribers and some new friends.
Yes, and some more content to watch. I watched Kristen. Is it Kristen? Is that her name?
Yeah. And
I'll watch this.
You have to make some good recommendations for her. Like, connect her with any of your Aussie friends who she can kind of team up with, since she's going over there. Although I don't know where exactly in Australia she's going.
Sydney? Did she mention Sydney?
Oh, I think she did.
Yeah, fabulous.
Cool. Well, George, I always enjoy chatting with you, and this has been a pleasure. We've never both of us been chatting in real time. It's usually you chatting on the screen and me typing, or me chatting and you typing. So this is really fun to have.
We did it in the 24 hours for like 20 minutes, but
You're right.
yeah.
I forgot about that too. You're right. Well, thank you for spending time, and thank you to everybody in the chat. This has been so fun. I also did get a lot done, but I also took a lot of pictures in anticipation of coming on tonight. So I also feel like I'm ahead of the game for tomorrow as well. So, all right, everyone. Well, have a good night, and thank you again. I'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye.